good morning, good evening, good night,
Hello.
good whatever it is, wherever you are,
Yes.
and to
Whatever
my
part of the time continuum you are on, welcome.
and whichever multiverse of the superhero sagas you are in,
Yeah.
wherever
Yeah.
you are, guten Tag, good evening, bienvenue, willkommen. La, 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 la. I never saw Cabaret, so I can't sing that one. I'm kind of like Jamie, not because I'm too young to know movies, but I don't know them because I never watched them.
Yeah. Listen, guys, I don't know. I've already done my peopling for the day. I'm a whole lot confused.
Well, let's say hello to Sea Swept, and Jamie is in the chat too. Kim Farron. Oh, hello.
Hello.
Reindeer is here.
Hi,
So
Reindeer.
Santa
Yes,
can.
and Brain, I got all of your emails and I will be doing videos. I just had a checkout yesterday, had a not great leg day, and then I tripped this morning trying to walk like a genius.
Hej Vejnesår, og du kan selv være mærkelig. Vi er ikke mærkelige, vi er bare anderledes.
Just what he said.
I know. Just sounds about right.
Yeah, it's it was weird to pick that up, especially when the post guy asked me why you don't look that old. I said no, I have strange friends. Hey Nana,
Oh my
welcome,
gosh.
welcome.
You guys
Hey,
know if I
baby.
got his and hers urns, I would put those things on the mantle
Oh, yeah.
and tell everyone about them.
Wendy H is here. Good day. Paige is here. Hello. Shelly. Nice to see you, Shelly.
Hello.
I was texting with Sea Swept and Shelly yesterday, and because I'm so stupid, I started answering Sea Swept in my chat with Shelly, but she thought it was a great idea what I was talking about. So yeah, I'm not that smart. Hey Thierry, Salbert, I put the link in the chat. Salbert will be doing the afternoon as this is Nevada, and Nevada can't do the math and the clock, so he will be covering the afternoons.
Yes.
Hey Ben. Yeah, and thank you all for liking and subscribing and all the stuff.
All of the things.
All the YouTube things.
Yes.
MS. That's exactly what I said, because Winosaur called you weirdos. In a nice way.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not going to lie to you and say I'm normal.
Pretend to be something I'm not. No.
Well, I didn't mix up the wives. I just answered one wife's question to another wife. And as long as you don't say it in bed, it's not a problem. Well, I'm not a person who likes streams that derail. I really like a tight ship where we keep to the script all the time. So
He sends us notes, and we write index cards. We have post-it. I have post-its all over. You have no idea.
We do.
And serious afterwards too.
Yeah, it's at least 45 minutes prep where I tell them every word they have to say during the stream. At some point, Mo will have to break out in song and grift herself.
I
wrote the song. I want to hear it.
I had a tap dance routine, but Baker was very upset that I injured myself. So, it is what it is.
It's that's why I'm going on vacation, because if I can't get a tap dance, whatever do I stream for? But yeah, Winosaur, you're kind of strange too, but it's because you're from Jylland. Yeah, strange people. Well, it would be just like you saying, well, you can't hear my keyboard on this stream. It's an intent, but it would be a lie. Well, you have all the odd days, and Shelley has all the equal. Yeah. So today it's one of your days. Tomorrow is Shelley. Well, yeah. We don't know. I think it was a tap dance. Mr. Mo would probably not like the second option.
Well, let's be honest. There is so
Let's be-
here's how the time continuum goes when Mo has something to drink. We get Mo that has less of a filter, as seen Friday. Then we have Mo that thinks she can dance, which she really can't, and we've not filmed her in the wild because thank God. And then we have Mo pregnant, and then we have Mo asleep. Now, the Mo pregnant thing can't happen anymore, but it usually just goes to Mo asleep. So,
I'm gonna catch Mo
you
dance.
know,
That's what I'm thinking.
I look like Elaine. It's unfortunate. It's
Oh, that is
terrifying.
the best though.
Well, now that I have one like bad hip and leg, I can only imagine that I'll just be like that old lady who needs a life alert. Like I've fallen and I can't get up. And Mr. Mo's like, "How do I help you without touching your left side?" Just all the kids laughing. Mom's on the floor.
Yeah, it's yeah. Yeah, well, I don't drink either, so I'm a teetotaler.
Yeah, there's never been. I mean, teetotaling. I've never drank in my entire life. It's very sad.
I'd like to try it sometime, but I'm not sure I could
I've
handle
heard
it.
tell about it.
Yeah, but I have seen what it does to Swedes, and even though Danes are we're more robust than Swedish people, so I'm still afraid. Yeah, go and if you like, you don't have to like video games to follow Lefty Lal. He's there. He talks sometime. It's all about the chat. All of his harem are really rowdy in the chats. And it's all the strange girls. It's Farrell, Sea Swept, Shelley, me. So
And
it
Baker.
yeah, it takes a wrong turn sometimes. Well, then a Mormon relationship or whatever you would call it.
Yeah, but do we want sister wives? Do we want the husband, or do we just want a sister wives relationship? Because I mean, I think we could just nix Cody out of the whole thing. Cody
Mhm.
was kind of an extra at this point. Give me Janelle, give me Christine, leave the two cry ones out of it. Mary and Robin were crying all the too damn time. Give me the fun ones. I've got
Yeah.
my,
But I think every time you see those shows, you're always wondering how that emotional wreck got in there. The one
oh
every
my
time
gosh,
there's a
Mr.
problem,
Mo.
who's crying in the corner, and all the other girls have to take care of her and say, "No, it's not your fault. No, of course he still likes you. No, it's not your problem." It's kind of
Oh,
like
Mr. Mo was always like, who the hell is the guy that signs up for this entire craziness? And as a woman, I'm like, I am crazy in and of myself. I couldn't imagine inviting another 3 of me into a relationship.
on paper it sounds good, but then you have to realize it's 4 times the craziness, 4 times the did you do that yet? That's and 4 times the what the 4 times the mother-in-laws. Well, I didn't. I had a problem with my liver, so I didn't drink for I think 2.5 years. So I tried to be it. It was a great time. I lost a ton of weight. Well, going from drinking about a case of beer 2 times a week to totally stopping, then and all the time you used to spend drinking the beer, you have to do something else. So you can lose a lot of weight.
Mhm.
Yeah, that mentally, the Swedes are a really robust people because they live next to Swedes. We at least have a bit of water between us. I have to watch these shows to learn all the names.
Yeah. Well, I
Season
mean, your
18.
demographic does skew heavily female. Now, I will say,
Yeah, I'm
basically,
78% female.
just on the safe side, skew with the man sucks is your safe thing, but Cody does really stink.
He's just really gross too. Ugh.
Yeah, but he's no
Yeah.
baker. So I don't know
Well,
if
he is
that's
no
good or
baker.
bad.
You could probably handle a harem baker. He can't.
No, I would just sit outside in the shed all day. And when you're yelling at me, I'll just say, I know speak
Probably
English.
probably the safest way to have a harem baker is to just hide.
Yeah, if you
Hide most
can't,
of the day and pretend
then
not to speak English.
yeah,
Wouldn't that be great?
Baker's rules of life.
yeah. I figured out that the yelling part doesn't work because it's kind of like women really like, and when you come to us and say, why did you do that last night in my dream? You can just say, well, I'm sorry, and then leave the house because the next 5 hours is just going to be you yelling at me. It's not because I did anything. It's just because you need to yell. So that's why you have kids, so you can yell at the kids.
Baker explains everything.
Yeah, I should be the life coach. Mo is the life coach. I really, when my demographic skews more to 50-50, I'll do the Andrew Tate grift and talk about
Oh,
how to
dear
be an
Jesus,
alpha male.
no.
You just have to
and
go
I'll
to
do
the gym,
the
and women ain't no good, and they're just feeding machines. And you,
here.
no, he's probably not in this. I can't do a Southern accent.
How about I do decoding women? Men, if you see something on the effing floor, just pick it up. Your wife will, it's almost like it's magic. If you see something, if you see a match, just pick it up before she asks you. It's almost like it's magic.
Hey, son, didn't miss you.
Yay!
Well, Lefty, you and I just like the Tate brothers, and we're going to do all the alpha male stuff. Talk about
Are
how
you gonna
women are
sit
no
on the
good.
baby
And
part of the spa too? Because apparently Nicholas was very upset with that. It
the spa.
And don't forget to put live chat and not top chat because YouTube is a pain in the behind.
Hey, Alexandra, welcome, welcome. See, I notice you now after you yelled at me for not noticing you. Yeah,
Thank you, Jungmin.
and just as I will be doing in the relationship, I'll never come into that thread. Did anyone notice I was there 4 times in one day, so I don't have to come in there for the next 4 months? But thank you, Jenny.
Pretty much.
And that is how you know what I want? I want brother husbands. Brother husbands, let's strike. I can only see that ending horribly with the woman doing double the laundry, but let's give it a try.
Landjägerbastard. That's a different name.
Yeah, I
Shouldn't
wasn't
the
gonna
Dutch be over
try
the
it.
A? Well, it means land hunter bastard if it's German. Nope. That's why the whole idea about having a harem, it's just like magic. It doesn't happen. Yeah, we should just smoke cigars and drink beer and tell all the guys how they could be just as alpha as us, and then Farrell could come in the end and yell at us, and we say, "Yeah, sorry, honey, we're going to do it now." In the behind, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. Let's see. You should do a show together.
Oh Lord.
I'm
As long as it's not MILF Manor, I think that's why God sent a hurricane to freaking California. No offense to all of our California watchers, but I'm not saying that God is angry, but
that was terrible.
holy Jesus, MILF Manor.
Terrible idea.
He done reneged on the whole flood thing. He's like, y'all need Jesus.
No, you don't want to be in that MILF Manor. That was a terrible MILF Manor.
Oh my, like I only saw little clips and I was like, I vomited in my mouth a little.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the face I made. It was remembering those ladies groping young men.
Yes.
Some of them were their sons. I was just like,
I know. I felt like I needed one of those danger dolls, those no touch dolls.
I know, it was so uncomfortable to watch.
well, I can't be on MILF Manor because my mom is dead. So, but maybe if
that turned dark a little quick, but okay.
yeah, well, no,
Also,
no,
good way
it's
to
okay.
get out of
I know
it.
she's dead. So, but maybe I can rent a mom.
No.
Oh my God! Bring the urn to tie in with the case. Oh my God.
Yeah, never mind. It is a reality show. It was an actual reality show, if nobody's aware of the show, where an older lady and her young son go on this show and they're dating other moms and the sons are dating other moms. It was creepy.
And MILF means mother I'd like to have fun with. Obviously, the F is something else I can't say on,
Yeah.
Don't make me have to look. I already got in trouble for the C word. I'm not.
Hey, Black Hands.
Oh, geez.
Jamie.
You got it out of me already. That's enough for today.
And the worst part of that show wasn't. I never watched. I saw Ass do the review of it, but when they had to cut it together and they changed hairstyles doing the show because it was so effed up, and the one pair where the mother was there to celebrate her dead daughter, it was just, woman, you need therapy more than you need to be on MILF Manor.
I can't believe
TLC used to be about learning stuff, and then they were like, well, the Duggars, and then you peel back that unholy onion, and then you're like, oh, well, John and Kate +8, and then that porcupine ass haircut, and no one thought that was bad.
Porcupine.
That is something y'all should Google. Google some clips of MILF Manor so you know what we're talking about. And you'll instantly vomit in your mouth.
Porcupine.
I know, the porcupine hair.
Did anyone not find her hair instantly offensive and weird? But then every mom, like edgy mom, decided to try to get that haircut, and it was like, no.
Mm-hmm.
It was the rise of "May I see your manager" haircut.
Oh yeah,
it was a scary time in America, and we're still there.
Yeah, the porcupine ass. Oh, I love you, Mo.
Mo will start a new channel just talking about TLC. Wait till you get my 600-pound life reviews, because I watch those when I try to do my morning workouts, which is
just to
I don't
motivate
know,
yourself.
Or
I only saw. I'm not sure we can see that on any of the streaming services in Denmark. That's
really.
So I can only see clips, but it's because it's hard to move around. So I just grabbed the first thing. So the first thing is pizza. Yeah.
No. Well, DoorDash is a thing now, so they just DoorDash like the whole menu.
Well, I guess you get paid an extra $1,500 if you do the nude shower scene.
What?
In
my 600-pound life, I guess the producers, to get the nude shower scene, that everyone needs to have.
But as we always say, it's never the ones you want to see naked.
No, look, I mean, I don't know why they blur anything out because,
No, right?
there are
Okay, sorry.
blockages in the way of things. Just saying. Lord.
You have to pay me 1,500 to watch you take a shower. Well, maybe if you put some effort into it, you can be a
Yeah,
600
really.
pounds
You
too.
have to put all I need is Dr. Now to be behind me every time I try to pick up a snack. You could look 14 pound a month. You just not snacking. You snack all the time. There's no war weight. No war weight. Like I just need him a guardian ad snack him and just smacks the snack right out of my hand. Just those little Dr. Now like stickers right in front of you. Like no snacking.
You should send me
Yeah.
over magnets for your fridge. I've found them before, and they're hilarious.
Oh,
I think
love
the best clip I ever saw was that my mama always used to tell us when we were younger that if you drink a diet pub, it eliminates the sugar. I was just,
oh my,
that's a
that was
joke we
my
make when we
1,000-pound
eat cake.
sisters.
Me and
Oh my gosh.
me and my cousin, we always used to when we're having some cake and she's, oh, I can't eat anymore. I was always think, well, you have to drive over the water before you go home, so calories can't travel over water, or just drink some diet coke because then it equals out. It's a joke, but these people are just, and they're looking like
Well,
Neanderthals because they have the forehead fat. It's just how, yeah, I'm a big guy, but
yeah,
still, there's some way till my forehead starts to point outwards. It's, I don't
I
know.
don't know. Mr. Mo was like, "Why do you watch these?" And I was like, "I don't know, but it makes me feel better about myself." It's like watching Hoarders when you're cleaning your house because, some days you just need to feel a little okay about yourself.
Jeg har køleskabet. Jeg skal ikke drikke i aften. Jeg skal til Nyborg i morgen og aflevere noget til Henrik. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you can send Zachariah Anderson a letter.
Yes. You can tell
Please
him
do
all
that.
about Sister Wives. I'm sure he's very, very anxious to know what's happening in
Well,
season 18.
American prisons, do they have the funny channels? Because Danish prison has those to keep the inmates occupied at night.
I am not quite sure.
Well,
Again,
because
all I know about prison is from like television, so I don't.
yeah, and maybe it's not a great idea if people are sharing a dormitory. It could get messy. I used to be in the military. I know stuff about that.
I only know what I know from prison from Love After Lockup. So
Oh my gosh, that is you want to talk train wrecks.
that's a
Oh
great one.
my Lord. The train wrecks of like ma'am, you done sent a murderer like 8 billion smexy letters.
Mhm.
He's been in prison for 24 years. You think he's going to come out and fly straight? Okay. Let's see how this is going to work out. It's going to work out great.
But it is
We have
great
to do
fun.
this on a Stabby Day. I think I was on with the expert when he pulled up these inmate dating sites,
Mhm.
Oh,
and
yes.
and then you can see we'll be able to meet in 2040. One of them was can't be determined, so she will probably not be able to meet at some point.
I would love that episode, Lefty. I hope they're on the new season.
And everyone, do as Young Men says, please go and show some love to Mo. You must be getting close to the goals and everything.
Yes, I am. And today is my oldest daughter's birthday.
Oh,
She was,
congratulations.
yeah, I kept her alive for 17 years, which honest to God, the first night I had her and like, they give you the newborn and they're like, hey, you get to keep her for your room for the night. And you look around and you're like, y'all are leaving me with her like by myself alone. Like it's a terrible idea.
And that's the funny thing. The first one, you're really scared. The second one, yeah, they're not going to break. Just throw them over in the corner. They're gonna
The
survive.
sixth one, you're like, put it in a box in my car. We're leaving.
No, but it's nice of him to ask because I have been out of beer for some days, but now I bought beer. So if I ever
Woohoo.
get to drink it,
That is true.
I found a thing on TikTok that has all of that stuff. Oh my god, it's so funny. The inmate
yeah.
saying who they are and stuff. Oh my god.
Awesome.
But
I was
I think,
scrolling in it for a good hour.
but I think there's websites, so we can pull it up on stream. They can't be copyright claimed. Yeah, and go and visit Salvador Dali Talks too, because he will be taking over in the afternoon. So then you can put a little thingy so it notices you when he's going live this afternoon. And will this? No, it's only 1 minute past. It's just after the Texas trial. I'm getting anxious. I can see people walking around, but nothing happens.
We find out if if they were both in a relationship, if they had any text messages. Did we find out anything awesome on Friday as I was slowly piecing my life back together, or anything relevant?
It was just tech stuff. It was just all this was here at that time, and this thing did that at this time, and we can't really tell it. I think. Okay, back to the trial. For those of you who are new, this is the Thomas Randolph trial, also known as the Black Widower trial. He had 6 wives. 2 of them are still alive. 2 of them died semi-naturally, and 2 of them got the wrong end of a bullet.
I shouldn't laugh.
Really.
Yeah. The second wife, who was struck by a bullet from an intruder, he was put on trial for that one. He was not found guilty. This is his 6th wife, when an intruder unalived his wife, and then he unalived the intruder. He has been convicted in this trial before. Back in 2017, he got the big penalty, which I can't mention on YouTube because YouTube is funny, but you can call it DP. And because they kept talking about the second trial in which he was not convicted, the DP was thrown out, and he had a retrial. And this is the retrial. And so far, objectively speaking, and not just because I think he's a real a-hole, but I am not convinced he did anything. They have talked a lot about shell casings being moved. Then the expert said, I can't tell you how it moved. We didn't conduct a crime scene investigation until a week later. And then they want to imply that he might have had a man-on-man relationship with the guy who shot her, but he had a girlfriend while he was married to this woman. And I'm not saying the defense is S tier, but I'm saying they are poking a lot of holes that could lead to reasonable doubt. I was expecting that they would have an ironclad case against him that would just be bang, bang, bang. Here are all the evidence. And so far, when I'm looking at this with my totally unbiased eyes, when I try to put those on, I think the defense have made a really good job at poking holes. All the experts have retracted their 100% certain statements. Has been, well, I really don't know. I couldn't say. So, yeah. Salvador, color me not surprised.
But if you do start sending a bunch of letters, we need to have dramatic readings. So keep in mind that if you write things down, I will be reading them in a funny voice. So
yeah, and we
always keep that in mind.
We won't delete your search history. We will use it online just to get more likes.
Sal, no. Just no. I'm telling you no.
Yeah, Søren wants to.
Let's aim higher.
But Søren, he's not on the same inmate dating site as Sal. Let's just say that.
Sorry. Listen, you guys, I had to people today. It's odd because I know you guys think that, or you must think that being on here, we are the most people-y people ever. But no, I stayed up till 1 o'clock last night because I had to go to a new school to see if I could enroll my boys. And as a slightly socially awkward person, I imagined every single scenario, including like alien abduction that could happen that would, go terribly with my awkward self. So everything went well. The boys are super excited, but I had to totally overthink it for like 18 and a half hours because Mr. Mo is in fact the public relations, portion of this company that we have.
I can't show
And
that,
yet he
son.
tried to work.
It's a good one, but I can't show that
Why?
because it's a little in implying some sexual activities that could maybe get some people angry.
Sornbert. Is that what we were calling him?
Sonnenberg, yeah.
Sornberto.
Sonberto.
Yes.
But the plot twist, the intruder was the killer's secret girlfriend. That could make more sense than most of the things we have heard so far.
I mean, I'm almost, and this is crazy because I really want him to be guilty because he's just odd looking. It almost seems like it could just be that the guy was trying to rob him and he actually just shot the guy that tried to rob him. Like everything he said was sort of the truth, which is odd.
My name is Toby Maldonado, Toby Maldonado.
Thank you very much. Sir, what do you do what did you used to do for a living?
I was a police officer with Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department.
Okay. How long did you spend with Metro?
29 years.
All right. And when you retired, what position were you within Metro?
Police sergeant.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about your background. Where did you work throughout your career over the 29 years?
Most of my career, probably 90% of it, was in the field service division, which is basically uniform. So basically patrol, and then I focused a lot on the training aspect of it. So we trained all the academy recruits in field training to get them ready to go out on patrol.
I want to turn your attention to May 8th of 2008. Were you working on that day?
Yes.
Were you working as a patrol sergeant on that day?
Yes.
And were you called out to 6517 Rancho Santa Fe Drive, a 911 coming out approximately at 8:44 and 54 seconds?
Yes.
All right. I'd like you to, if you could, explain to the jury when you arrived as a patrol sergeant, and
This
they've
little
heard that,
gnome
it's a shooting
prosecutor,
call.
I don't like
When
the
you
way he
arrive
looks.
to a shooting call, what are some of the basic responsibilities when you first get to that scene?
Immediately, we want to try to find any kind of victims or witnesses and try to determine where the crime occurred, if there's a crime, and then try to, render aid to anybody that may be injured and or then secure the scene and wait for, depending on the call investigative services or medical or whoever's whatever's necessary at that point.
Okay. And when you arrived at this scene, what were some of the basic details that you had either coming over the radio or when you immediately arrived there?
We received information that there had been a shooting at the house on Santa Fe Drive, I think, or wherever.
Rancho Santa Fe.
Yes. And that the homeowner that his wife had been shot by a suspect, and that the homeowner had shot the suspect.
So your understanding is there's 3 people inside
Yes.
of the house?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, that's a
When
tough
you
one.
arrive, how many people are there initially?
Just one,
Okay.
like outside the house, the victim or the person reporting was there.
And you're talking about civilians, is that correct? When
Yes.
You said just the one. I'm now talking about police officers. So how many officers start to arrive?
When I got there, there were probably 2 or 3 other patrol cars already there.
Okay. At that point, had anyone entered the residence at that point?
No.
All right. Who makes these sort of calls at this point? Is there a chain of command about deciding about when you enter, when not to enter, things like that?
That would be the ranking officer on the scene. And in this case, it would have been me.
All right. So tell us what happens. You arrive on the scene. There's 2 or 3 patrol cars there. What do you do at that point?
As I remember, I didn't speak to the person reporting there. Somebody had gotten some basic information about what happened. And then I put together either a 3 or 4 man team to go in and check on the house and check on the person that had been shot inside.
All right. I'd like to, let's see if I hit this button before we get going.
Hopefully the state will end today. They were supposed to end on Friday. So
I want to, before I...
maybe this is the witness who should wrap everything up.
Does this look general? I know it's a long time ago, but does this look familiar to you?
It does a little bit, yes.
Okay. And what does it remind you of?
The house where the call occurred.
Okay. So when you arrive, is the garage door open or closed at this point? When you first get there.
As I remember, the garage door was closed.
Okay. I'm publishing one. So it's closed. So you don't. So you said there were 2 or 3 or 4 of you, right? How do you enter the home?
We basically just form, and it's called like an element. 1, 2, 3, 4. You go into the house, and everybody has a responsibility. Like who opens the door, who does this, who does that, and then we basically go through the front door and then just start conducting a quick search for any victims.
And this is kind of goes back to what you were saying at first, trying to identify any victims and potentially kind of secure a scene.
Yes.
Okay. So you enter through the front door. What do you remember observing that catches your attention?
As we walk through, I remember one of the officers, Mike Mitchell,
because
he was
Ahsoka is
first one
coming
through,
out.
and
I think they have to.
there was a female on the
have
ground that
a
had been
hit on
shot.
that one.
And as soon as we saw her, I asked him. I said, "Is she alive? Is she breathing?" Or anything like that. He's like, "No, she's gone."
So when you say him, who is the him that you're
That'd be Officer Mitchell.
Okay. So he gives you an indication that, in his opinion, that she's gone by this point.
Yes.
Okay. Does she appear to be moving at all?
No.
All right. Are you familiar with a term called clearing a house?
Yes.
What is that?
It's clearing a house is basically where you just go in a systematic manner, room to room to room of the home, and you check it. Depending on what you're doing, if it's not a search warrant, you're checking for bodies, or you're looking for victims or possible suspects at that point.
Okay. You had mentioned that you had heard over either radio or through a briefing that the homeowner's wife was shot by the intruder and that he had shot the intruder at that point.
Yes.
After locating this woman, do you take additional steps at that point in time when you're doing that first walkthrough to go find the intruder?
You can, but I made a decision at that point, and this is in the midst, and I remember in that time period of the late, like 2008, 2009, the department had made it, they were making a very good effort to try to avoid any kind of police shootings. Okay. So could we have gone in the house and cleared it, maybe encountered the suspect? Probably, but I decided at that point, look, there's nobody else in the house except maybe a suspect, because we didn't know where the suspect was.
Okay.
So I decided, let's just leave the house, secure the house, and call for the SWAT unit to come and clear the house.
Okay. So when you walk in through the front door, you guys find the female wherever she was located, right?
Yes.
And then you make the determination, we're stopping now, and everybody exits.
Correct. Yes.
And the entryway was the front door, not the garage.
Yes.
Okay. So you make a decision to bring in SWAT.
It's
Yes.
part of my
So
services.
how does that sort of unfold? Does SWAT go into the house next, or does something different happen?
Well, at that point, you basically you secure the home from the outside. You have officers on the perimeter, and then you just basically wait for the SWAT team will always come out with an investigative unit, like a detective or whoever, and then they will put together a plan, and then they'll make a tactical entry into the home.
Okay. So I'm assuming more and more officers are arriving as time
Yes.
is going by, correct? These officers, though, at this point in time, are standing outside the perimeter.
Yeah, this seems so weird to me, and maybe again it's because we really have a different mindset and a different culture in Denmark. But if there could be a potential shooter,
Mhm.
it's everyone in and eliminate the threat. Here it's no, just let's stand around for 5 hours and wait for the SWAT team to show up. It's kind of like the school thing. We should probably not name any names or anything that would be bad on YouTube too. With the guy who kept them back. If I was a parent down in that city, I can't say that on YouTube. But
No, but let's just imply that I have a big car and
I have shovels, and we
That's-
can figure things out.
Mhm.
But it's just weird. We have a potential intruder in the house, and because everything has been in the media, everything has been over saturated with fear, and we have to keep the proper image for the public. Police is really more, I don't know how to say it, but it's more like they have to have the PR firm out there first to say, well, you can do this, you can do that, and you can do this, instead of just going in getting the bad guy. And we don't
well,
really
and
have that
you
problem
have people
here.
who don't understand firearms. You've got leaders who don't understand anything. So instead of being humble and say, "Look, I don't understand firearms. I don't understand how any of this works." They say, "Well, why won't you wound someone in the leg?" As if
Because it's
so
really,
you
really hard to hit.
Yeah, so you have people that haven't been through any of these safety courses who finally go through some of these safety courses. You know, eh, Look, rubs a lot of the people the wrong way, but he does have these safety courses, and you can do all the book learning, but until you go through one of those courses and you have that adrenaline pumping, it's really easy to armchair quarterback a lot of these things. But, you have these politicians who have never done anything but sit behind a desk,
Yeah, who
say like,
has the
"Well, just
best security in the world standing right next to them.
yeah, just wing them in the shoulder or, like,
Yeah,
do
shoot the finger
something."
off him like Lucky Luke.
Yeah, or use the force. I mean, and you have people that if we could all just wait like 5 daggone seconds and, just wait for facts instead of breathlessly wanting to be a 24-hour news, you
Yeah,
there
when
are some good
CNN
things
jumped
about
on the
us.
scene, we had a problem. And 24-hour news is a driving factor in everything bad because the politician are so afraid they can't be the first one on the news, so they have to say something. They're not thinking anymore. They just want the headlines. And Mass, you don't know if it's only the shooter. You could say, well, no, my wife, she's down and I'm out. But the police, they have to check and make sure that you can be confused. You could forget that your two grandkids are in there because normally it's only you and your wife, and you're in distress. That's why I'm saying go in and get it done. But it's probably also because the bad guys' weapon are getting heavier. Because it's funny when there's kerfuffles around the world. It's kind of like heavy guns and fast shooting guns get a surplus, so they can be sold to all the people who don't obey the laws. And Wendy said, my kids and I was shopping at Macy's the other night. SWAT snuck into our area and told us to get downstairs. Oh, that's not good.
Yikes.
That's yeah. We can't find any. That's weird. If you can't find anything about it. It's weird. I don't get that one twisted. Yeah, if the police say get out of here now, it's better just to go, and then you can get Karen later and say, "Well, I had to get that special lunchbox with the little bunny on it." The people who's thinking, no, I better argue with the police when they're armed to the teeth. It's probably a false alarm, or it could be a false alarm, but it's better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah, just, let it go. You can always go on Amazon, get whatever you need right to your house.
And most important lesson Disney has told us the last 20 years is let it go, let it go.
Oh
La,
my God,
la, 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 do, la, la.
oh Lord, that song.
Yeah, and it's a good thing to know how to act. And the first thing is get away. You're not a superhero. You're not bulletproof. Just go the other way.
Yes.
If you see a fight in the street, don't step in and be the hero, because if you get knocked down, if you knock someone down and they die, it's your problem. And the best defense is running away. And as a guy who had his nose broken by a guy I never saw, let me tell you, I should have just walked on instead of saying, "What did you say?" So then maybe my left nostril wouldn't have been this messed up. But too many people like to believe the world evolves around them. But as I told my kids, walk away. Run away is the best protection you can have.
Home not going inside.
Yes.
And at this point, is the garage door still closed?
Yes.
All right. So what happens with SWAT? Do they actually go inside this residence?
As I remember, SWAT never came out.
Okay. Why not?
It was my lieutenant at the scene.
Exactly.
He decided that the house could be cleared with the officers that were already present, that we didn't need to wait for SWAT.
Okay. So they may have been called to the scene, but they ultimately do not, the SWAT team does not go through this residence.
Correct.
So all those feet never make it inside that house.
Correct.
Okay. There's been some talk about possibly a canine unit coming out. What do you remember about the canine unit?
I remember the canine
We
unit cleared the garage when the garage door opened. The canine unit went in with probably 2 or 3 other officers.
Okay.
And he announced that
He's
hey,
too
there's a
weak to
suspect
even
in
move
the-
Jello. So.
Suspects in the garage, and he's deceased.
Okay. And then where else do they go?
If they were going to, I didn't see them at this point. I just, I'm already a couple of houses down, so
Okay.
I knew that they had gone to the garage, and at that point, they probably do a room-to-room clearing of the home.
Okay. Do you recall whether or not the canine unit goes into the backyard part of the house?
There may have been.
So
more
he's
than
here
one
to
canine unit
testify
there,
that
because I remember
there
was a
wasn't
canine
20
unit in the
people running
backyard.
around the house
Okay.
kicking cartridges.
All right. So
But still, he
let's
said
do
the
this. Are you
detective
familiar
or
with
the
what's
police
called like a
officers
catalog or an incident
searched
recall?
the house,
Yes.
not the SWAT
All right.
people.
And you've reviewed
Some
that in
people were
advance
in
the
of
house.
upcoming years. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. I'm publishing what's been marked as it states 325.
It just, again, I need to, if this is the end of the states, they still haven't shown me the
So,
grand plot
What do we have here in the middle?
where
here?
he
What is
got this guy to do anything.
I can't see that.
Oh, you can't see it. All right.
Maybe
Well,
you
how
can
about this?
No, and they specifically said they were not going after a conspiracy angle.
Okay, thanks.
So how can you hire a hitman and not be conspiring with him?
That is exactly my question, because I am very confused.
Makes no sense. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sergeant, is it easier to see on the
Oh,
monitor there?
yes.
Okay. So when we look in the middle here, what is this indicating?
So that's the address of where
Yeah,
the
he has a strange
incident is
face.
occurring.
All right. And this long number here on the left, what is this?
That's the event number that's generated by the computer to keep track of all the calls.
And is that generally the time when the call was received, 2045?
Yes,
Okay. But if the 911 call said it was 2044 and 54 seconds, you wouldn't dispute that, correct?
correct. Right.
Okay. 6 seconds difference, right?
Yes.
All right. So
6 seconds is a long
if
time,
we look
ladies.
here at 8508, what's the time here?
2045.
And can you read that out?
It says PR's wife shot and PR also shot suspect.
What does PR stand for?
The person reporting.
All right. A minute later, there's another entry here. What does this say?
Wife possibly shot in head in hallway. PR shot suspect in the
I'm not
garage.
great
unknown
at
if
drawing
still there.
faces
Mike, unknown last name, BMA.
or anything.
Okay. 2 minutes later, at 20:47, can you please respond or read what it says here? And
Okay, PR is advising the suspect is still in the garage, unknown if he's 419, that means dead.
okay,
Requesting to be transferred to medical for advice for the wife.
all right. A minute later, can you please read this entry here?
Where at exactly?
Sorry, I apologize.
Okay.
At 20:48, if you can read this entry here, it's 3 lines.
Okay, suspect is known to PR, has been scamming him. Suspect is laying in the garage, not moving. PR locked door, so suspect is locked in the garage. PR just took the male's 413 away and is now in the residence with him.
What does 413 stand for?
A gun.
Right. 20:49, that's a minute later. What does this entry say?
PR set the phone down. There's an open line with PR saying Sharon and crying.
Okay. Minute later, what is it saying here?
PR advising wife doesn't have a pulse. FD giving CPR instructions.
All right. If you could read at 20:52, what does this say here?
3x3, that's the unit call sign.
Okay.
Have homeowner open garage.
All right. And at 20:52, what's it saying here?
Male advised to open door.
I could be a court.
And then it says
draw.
the LL means that they're landline.
Boy.
That they're using.
That is
Landline phones?
Yes.
Okay. At 20:53, what is it saying here?
3x7, any other units, stop traffic.
So what does that mean?
Generally, they're blocking off the street to prevent cars from
Hey,
driving in front
Siri.
of the residents.
Hey, T-Ree.
I told you, hey Siri. Yeah, and please jump between me and Nick. We can share
I
you.
want to look at this entry at 20:57. So this is approximately 12 minutes after this call started. Please read out what it says here.
548, not able to clear residents
Safety.
safety, request SWAT.
Who is 548?
That's me.
Okay, so that was your call sign on that.
Yes.
So
Thank you.
what did you,
I caught
what does that
creepiness
mean?
in
Is
his
that
eye.
essentially what you were saying, that you didn't clear the house at that point and you're requesting SWAT?
Right. We didn't have any information where the suspect was in the house. So we didn't know if he was barricaded, if he was waiting to ambush us. And at that point, knowing that the wife, that the female wasn't alive, there wasn't like a pressing need to clear the house immediately.
Okay. So at the same entry time, it's just the next entry, but it's still at 20:57. Please read out what it says.
Hearing units clearing residents while landline.
And it says 27//. Is that a reference to the dispatcher or?
That's probably the console that she's using, the 27.
Okay. 2 minutes from that at 20:59, what's it say here?
305 has shield if needed.
What does that mean?
305 is the lieutenant. That's Lieutenant Alba, and he did have a ballistic shield in his car.
All right. At 21:01, what's it saying here?
548 have SWAT standby.
Okay, that's you again, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you're giving another instruction for SWAT not to go into this residence.
Or to not, or actually, like they weren't even there. So I was just telling them, look, they're at that point. Lieutenant Alba had said, look, we can clear the house ourselves. We don't need to have SWAT. So I told the dispatcher, okay, just have SWAT stand by now. Like, don't have them come out yet.
All right. At 21:03, so this is now at 9:03. Please read out what it says here.
563 GC need units to control PED traffic. That's the pedestrian traffic.
All right. A minute later, if you could read out this entry.
3x3, one subject confirmed 419 in hallway with 413 by them.
Okay, what does that mean?
3x-ray 3 is the call sign of the unit. One subject is confirmed dead in the hallway with a gun next to them.
All right. Looking at 21:06.
I'm really working on my drawing skills.
Please read this entry.
I'm
3x
about at
need
the same
air
level as
to
a
check
3-year-old.
balcony type covering on the west of residence.
Right.
Amazing.
And then this last entry down here, what does this say?
3x put spotlight on garage.
What does that instruction signify?
Basically to use the spotlights on the police vehicles to illuminate the garage door.
Okay. I want to turn your attention to the next page of this exhibit. And the entry is 2112.
please.
You can read this entry here.
K9 12 can see 4
everything.
side and 3 side, but not the 2 side.
Okay, what does
This
that
is,
mean? What is
super-
K912?
K9 12 is
Relevant.
K9 is the K9 unit. The
Yeah.
units with the dogs, and 12 is his call sign in that unit.
All right.
So you're
what
just
does 4
confirming
side,
what
3
you
side,
told
and
us
2 side
before.
mean?
The SWAT guys are going to kill me. It basically each side of a home has a number. So like, for example, the front of the home is a 1,
Okay.
the left side's a 2, the backyard's a 3, and it goes clockwise, I believe.
So under this entry, the K9 unit is indicating it can see the 4 side, which would be the back part of the house, right? If the 1 is the front,
Right.
the 4 is the back, it says it can see the 3 side, correct?
Yes.
And the 2 side.
Yes.
It's not indicating the front side, correct?
Not from this, no.
Okay. What's the next entry say at 2113?
I would just
C13
bring
Larry Burns
Stern
advised.
over. He looks kind of
landline
like
will
a
call 548
neo-impressionist
Moscow.
painting
All right,
in
so-
his face.
Who's Larry Burns at this time?
Larry Burns was the SWAT commander.
Okay. And he advised on the landline he'll call 548. So
Oh,
calling
I can
you
sell them later.
on a cell.
And I need to
At
check that off.
2113, what
Yes,
does this
you
entry
do.
say?
You
It says
need-
units trying door.
All right.
Be like
2115, 2 minutes
right.
later, we have another K912 entry. What does it
Yes.
say here?
A lot of toys in backyard. Unknown if juveniles live at the residence.
Okay, it says have.
Have grandkids. They have grandkids, but none live in the residence.
All right. So again, K9 unit is reporting things being seen in a backyard.
Yes.
All right.
Let-
At 2117,
Let's just get
two
the
minutes
Baker
later
thing
after
up and
that,
going
what's
first.
it say here?
It says doors opening,
Okay, and then the next entry says,
body and garage.
all right. And then
Yeah, I think it's
2119,
weird that you would
what's it
say
saying?
1,
K98 subject
2,
and garage is
3,
419.
4.
2118 583 GC.
That
interior
doesn't
Yeah.
make
cleared,
sense.
2118.
Okay, so the K98
Would
is
either-
one.
either
is
go-
I've
another
not heard
K9
that,
unit,
but I've
correct?
never
Okay.
seen
Subject is in a garage. is
them go
indicated
through this
419, I think.
in such a way.
No,
But
but it would naturally be either clockwise or counterclockwise.
Mhm.
You could say 1, 2, 3, 4, or you would say 1, 2, 3, 4, or 4. So it would be the opposite sides, but you would never have 4 or 3 on the 4 on the back side. That no way does that make sense. But
You said
What
419,
do I
and
know?
what?
Dead.
think
All right.
not,
What does
but
the 2118 58 GC int clear?
well, in the Western culture, it's kind of normal that we go clockwise when we
yes.
go. That's why in the military you're taught never go go to the right when you come to a hill, because in the Western culture we go left. So you would probably count it that, and that's a cultural thing. I don't know. Yeah, exactly, because it's a cultural thing that we always move with the clock. It's the same way if you're playing a board game. You're always the player to the left of the dealer is always the first one to go.
2118, what's that?
The 2118 is the time,
Okay,
and then 583 GC
And
is
I
the
do believe that
the
the
unit.
500
I
is
don't
the
know
unit.
if it's
Yeah,
the
it's
Middle
a
East
sergeant. GC is
or the
if I
Near
remember,
East.
it's gang
that,
crimes. So
they
gang
go
crime sergeant.
counterclockwise normally.
And they're saying interior clear?
Yes.
Okay, so at 2118, it appears there's
That
an
you're a
entry into
woman,
the
you're
garage
doing
according to
the
this
opposite
catalog.
of what we men
Yes.
do.
All right. Are there any other units other than 583 GC and the K98 being reported as being in this garage according to this entry
No.
in the catalog? 1 minute later, at 2120, if you can read this.
All I can
presentation.
get from this
AMR
is he's
advised
just there
of
to
delay.
say
What does
we
AMR
didn't
stand
run
for?
all over the
AMR is
place and
American
kick
Medical
the
Rescue, or
casings.
it's basically the paramedics.
Okay, so they're being advised of delay.
Yes.
And if he was the lead detective,
At 2121, could you please
why sit and read this?
indicate what it says there?
3x3 request medical.
I don't know.
Right.
21.
And then the next entry down 2 minutes later, what does it say here?
It says 3x garage to rear of residence not cleared.
Okay, in the backyard, was there a shed?
I don't know. I didn't go in the back.
Okay, all right, so you're not sure exactly what that's referencing, but there, 3X, meaning it's an officer, is indicating, hey, there's a garage to the rear of the residence that's not being cleared.
Correct.
I think here it says 3X Chan clear. What does Chan stand for?
Channel.
Okay, that's kind of radio frequencies, I guess.
Yeah. The there was a code red on the channel, so that's just this repetitive beeping noise that goes out every like 4 to 5 seconds. So when the channel, and that means nobody can talk on the radio unless you have to. So when they clear the channel, they mean that it's basically you're free to talk on the radio.
Okay, at 21:54, which is almost an hour and 10 minutes later, what is the entry here?
Via AM, media is arrived.
Okay, so that's maybe media members are maybe showing up to the neighborhood.
Yeah, this is just indicating that somebody had sent the dispatcher a message over the computer and that the media was starting to arrive.
All right. This entry near the bottom at 2200, so that's going to be at approximately 10 o'clock at night. Please read out what it says here.
MC1 requested ID via landline. MC1 was connected directly to CS4 for ID request.
So ID, what does that stand for?
ID is short for our criminalistics, or CSI, as people know them as.
Okay, so that's when so MC1 is an officer that's there, correct?
Yeah, MC1 is the major crimes detective.
He's the most senior, right? Because he's
number
one,
one,
right?
yeah. So
Most senior crimes detective there. He's on the scene, and he is requesting that CSAs come out.
Yes.
Correct? At approximately 10 o'clock at night.
Yes.
At 10:02, can you read this entry here?
10:02 will be FD Rescue 9 and Engine 9 that responded. Also AMR 5907 and 5931.
Yeah, and
What does
then
that
it would
mean?
be really weird
those are
if the
the-
police have a
The engine
different
company
way
from the fire
because they
department that
have
responded.
to
So they
communicate
had
with
Rescue 9
fire
and Engine 9.
departments.
So that basically means like the Engine 9 is the big fire truck. The Rescue 9's their van, their paramedic van. And then AMR 5907 and 5931 are the two AMR units that responded.
All right. You have two more entries here at 2204 and 2205. You can just read those two out.
Okay. Left message for tips.
What is
And
tips?
It's the volunteer program, trauma intervention program. It's volunteers that
Tips is what you can pay to save Jamie's lashes. If someone could
True.
please share the link for Jamie's lash fund, then people could give her a little tip to keep those lashes luscious.
respond to talk to family members or friends,
Very,
survivors.
very
Okay, so
true.
it's kind of volunteers that help out at.
Yes.
We'll turn it
Okay.
down.
So they're being left a message, and then what's the next thing say?
710A request medical for PR,
All right. At 2209, it's saying tips ENR. What does the ENR stand for?
that they're en route.
Okay. And also ER can also stand for that, correct?
Yes.
All right. ETA means what? Estimated time of arrival?
Yes.
At 2215, there's this entry here. If you can read that out.
305, 3PS61, okay to let homeowners come in off of Rainbow and Rancho Santa Fe.
Okay.
I
So
heard that different.
typically, if you have a crime scene and it's nearby a major roadway, are there steps sometimes where you guys block off people coming in and out?
Yes.
All right. And this is a residential neighborhood?
Yes.
What's happening here in this instruction?
Basically, it looks like per the lieutenant, it's okay to start letting homeowners come in. It looks like off of one side of the street.
Okay. And this is about 2.5, I think it's at 10:15 at night, correct?
Yes.
Okay. At 2303, there's an entry here. What is that saying?
548 request grave units to assist.
Because that's maybe what, a transition squad of another shift
Yes.
of patrol officers, things like that?
Yes.
And then at 2310, what's it saying here?
3X3 call tips. They can leave per homicide.
All right. I have no further questions for this witness.
Sorry, ladies. We've been going for 50 minutes. What did we learn?
As I just posted, my ADHD that zones out on abbreviation is like, Mo, we're going to consider whether unicorns fart sprinkles or glitter for the next 3 minutes. And then we'll move on to giggling that unicorn or that Hurricane Hillary is, ravaging California for another giggle fest. And then we'll come back to giggles or, sprinkles or glitter. Not one daggone thing. I mean, again, I am still waiting for this piece of evidence that shows beyond being weird and apparently being able to figure out which women are at the lowest point of their life and
Got that
he
down.
can
Pat.
in fact date them and having the most luscious mullet, this side of Santa Fe. I can't find him guilty. Are we looking at another directed verdict? I mean, I don't know what they've proved here.
Yeah, like there's nothing.
What we have proved is what he had admitted. The wife was shot, and Michael was shot. We haven't had any indication that Michael didn't shoot the wife. We haven't had any indication he paid Michael. We haven't had any
Yeah, that's
indication they planned this beforehand. There's a lot of. It's kind of like the Zachariah Anderson case, and I go back to that because that's a reference point most of us can relate to. Ifs and buts is really having to drag this man to be past a reasonable doubt.
Mhm.
Because the expert was asked, would there be holes in the wall? No, we couldn't say that. The cartridges, could they end up where they ended up? Yeah, because a lot of people walk around in the house. They haven't done anything to convince me, and I'm pretty sure he's a bad guy. But still, we have to give him the benefit of the doubt. Go to
yeah,
Dylan at the alternate
that's where
corner.
I'm not.
Yeah, and go to
Yeah,
Dylan at the alternate corner where he has a video about why we always have to assume reasonable doubt and work from that. There's nothing in this case other than proving what he said could have happened. And that's my problem. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he's guilty of stealing Mo's
Um,
heart. She's just
you
envious of the
know,
term.
I
That's a good one.
I liked him in his grandma with beard form. This new form of Chandler Halderson's girlfriend's wife, not as attractive to me, in fact.
I like the
But
pigtails.
yeah, the pigtails and the beard were better for me, just on a weird people looking thing. Also, is your
Well,
name
we need
XX
the.
or is your name Jesus Fingered Squirrels? I can't. Sorry, my ADHD is full blown today. I am so sorry.
Yeah, and I think we have been watching how many trials. I've been covering 4 live trials, I believe, and been sitting in on 2 or 3 more. It seems like when the prosecution really uses a lot of time to bore the jury to death, it's because they really don't have a strong case. But again, I would say in most cases, 80% of finding people guilty is just putting them on the stand because, well, they wouldn't blame them if they didn't do anything wrong. So that's always playing against the victim. But those cases where the prosecution has been really, really slow to get to the point, the border cross case, it was a unmitigated cluster mock because they had
Yeah.
so many things they could just bang, 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 draw a clear picture, 30 minutes for every witness. We could have been done in a week. But no, they had to talk for 7 hours. It's just like watching me doing a stream. Yeah, I said buts.
Yeah, but you're more entertaining.
That's how to go. I only know ifs and buts. I never heard the other one. No, I'm not putting that one up. I'm not putting that one up. Well, yep. Yeah, it's the wrong place if you want to annoy people because we have Lefty and Twisted.
I know.
We had
Yeah, you cannot shock us much more.
no. And if we really want, we just call Sal and say, talk about your wieners.
True. We it's not.
Oh. Sal is the only one who had paid the state to give him pictures of wieners.
Oh my gosh, yes, he has. And I need to talk to David because we are going to try to FOIA request the smexy letters between Angel and what's his face because we need that horror
Sergeant
in
Dumb?
our lives. Yeah, Sergeant Dum Dum.
Yeah.
Because, the horror must continue.
Oh my god.
Salbert.
I know. I haven't seen anything that is like remotely damning for this guy. Other than he was there.
Yeah, and he's a gigantic ace
Yeah.
clown. But
Yeah.
yeah, we're all just lost for words because we've been sitting here for 6 days now, and everything is correctly said, but it lines up with the testimony of the defendant. And Salbert, you were watching the full interview. I only saw parts of it. Nothing really crept in here that's different from what he told about the story. I don't get it. I'll be right
Morning,
back.
sir.
I'm going to
Morning.
grab some.
What time do you arrive on this call?
I'd have to look at the log. I don't know the exact minute, hour and minute.
Do you think looking at it would help refresh your
Yes.
recollection? My approach?
Sure.
Let me hand you what's already in. It's 3:25.
Okay.
Find your call sign and your time to arrival.
Let's see. 27. Looks like 8:58 is when the dispatcher indicated I arrived.
Okay. And how does the dispatcher get that info?
Usually we will announce over the air that we're arriving, or we'll hit the arrive button on our computer, or those are really the only two ways, or she hears it through somebody else. Like if I don't announce or I don't hit the arrive button, which happens, then she'll either hear somebody, like she'll hear me on the radio giving directions. She's, oh, he's out there already. So she'll put 2 and 2 together and figure out that someone's there.
And just so the ladies and gentlemen of the jury understand how this computer aided dispatch, this CAD report works, there's a 911 operator that fields a 911 call, right?
Yes.
And that individual has the ability to talk to the PR, the person reporting on the phone, correct?
Yes.
And they also have the ability to type into a computer all the line items that you see there, right?
Yes.
And those line items are then directed to first responders and secondary responders and specialized units within the field have access to that computer.
Yes.
You mentioned you hit your arrive button on your computer. You have a computer in your actual patrol car.
Yes.
Right? And it has a keyboard so you can enter information.
Yes.
And it has a specific button that allows you to announce your arrival.
Yes.
Okay. You understand that as the dispatcher is taking in information from the person or persons reporting, that's entered into that system, right?
Yes.
So you would agree with me that there's more information coming in probably than goes out into the CAD, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you also agree with me that there's a number of line items there that don't have extensive verbiage, just kind of call signs and either a 4-letter code or a 400 code or a unit response that you recognize as part of your job at Metro, right?
Yes.
And the prosecutor just kind of read you the more detailed ones that were typed in, right?
Yes.
Okay. Can I retrieve that, Joe?
Sure.
So you indicated that you arrived at 20:58, right?
Yes.
So if the call came in at 20:44, how many minutes is that?
14.
And even assuming that the call came in at 20:45, you get there 13 minutes later, right?
Yes.
You're not the first unit on scene.
No.
There's a number of units on scene.
Yes.
And those include marked patrol vehicles,
Yes.
some of them with one person per car.
These, if I remember, they were all single man units or single officer units.
So there's at least 3 or 4 people there when you get there.
Without looking at the log, probably at least 2.
Okay. And they're out of their cars already?
Yes.
Have they approached the house already?
No, I don't know. I don't remember where they were when I initially arrived. Typically, somebody would have approached the home just to kind of watch the front door.
You have access to the information that's being relayed by the dispatcher through the CAD system, right?
Yes.
You do not have access to the call that's
Hello,
happening
Chrissy.
between the person reporting and the 911 operator, right?
Yes.
The 911 operator would choose what to put in this CAD report.
Yes.
Do you remember when the prosecutor asked you the question about a garage door? Do you remember that?
Yes.
Do you remember what that question was?
Iris, the thing you missed was before the trial. And luckily enough, we still have it. Just gonna put, nope, this one, and gonna remove you, and then I'm gonna show you what could have been in this case, but was denied by the judge.
While I'm waiting for this, did you
whether it's true or not, believe that Mr. Randolph had slept with your wife?
I wouldn't care.
You wouldn't have cared?
No,
Did you believe he had slept with your wife?
no,
Did you believe he slept with your mother-in-law?
probably did. Everybody has.
So there.
Everybody has.
The judge is like, the hell did you just?
That should have been in this trial.
Yeah, I don't like women.
Oh, my favorite.
Sal, that's inappropriate. Respect the older women and give them some love too.
Yeah, let's get CPU off the stand and just get mother-in-law, ho-in-law back.
I want Glenn. God dang it.
I know this.
I miss it.
This every line item. I mean, what are we trying to prove here? That the garage door somehow was opened at some point? I mean, obviously you found the dead bodies at some point.
Yeah, and you shone a light on it. Chrissy, that was Glenn. He was his drinking buddy back in. He wasn't really sure. It could have been in the 70s. It could have been in the 90s. He wasn't really sure. But they were drinking sometimes,
mean-
maybe. And he might have asked him to off his wife, which he never met the wife. He might have seen her sometimes driving past the house, but he was clearly wanting to pay him to off the wife, and he didn't do it because he was sure he was going to get off. And then he finished on the high note talking about his mother-in-law. And the mother-in-law was something of a community pleaser.
While I'm waiting for this, did you, whether it's true or not, believe that Mr. Randolph had slept with your wife?
I wouldn't care.
You wouldn't have cared?
No,
Did you believe he had slept with your wife?
no,
Did you believe he slept with your mother-in-law?
probably did. Everybody has.
So there.
Everybody has.
The judge is like, the hell did you just?
It never gets old.
It's
No.
yeah. Glenn or we riot.
Exactly.
We need Glenn back. By popular demand.
Well, he's
Yeah.
the one that got him convicted the first time around, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, she was a community. Everyone slept with her. That's a nice mother-in-law. I'm not sure I'm gonna look for cookie dough in that box.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Oh Lord.
It was all
Yeah,
the
you
80s
might
haircut
not.
in this trial. Yeah, the judge must just have been what? What? Sorry, excuse me.
What did you say? And then she says, "Oh, okay."
Yeah,
That judge made that her ringtone. That I would have had that on my excuse me. Like that would have been my letterhead for the rest of my life. Like just all of it.
It's because it was so
Me-
natural for him to say that. Like when he said it, it just came out. Like he
There was
tells
no
everybody
shame in
about
his
mother-in-law.
game.
Yeah. He hates that woman.
Yeah, you could definitely tell he was like, and like
yeah.
duh, she's the
Just a town bicycle.
like the day ends with Y and my mother-in-law is a whore.
Banging everybody.
What trick question is this?
Yeah. And yeah, the attorney was just, nope, no more questions, Your Honor. Yeah, Glenn is my spirit animal.
Yep.
Was the garage door open or closed?
Do you remember when the prosecutor asked you about the person requesting medical? Do you remember that?
Yes. Towards the end, yes.
No, I'm talking about early on in the call. Do you remember that?
No, I don't. Which one are you talking about? Like who was requesting medical? The officer?
He
Let me
just
show you.
said it.
Okay.
Ask first about the garage. Okay.
Yeah.
You see it, 2052 male advised to open door. You see that?
You might, is it down at the bottom? I can't read it on here. Okay, there it is. Yes,
Well,
Mel advised open door.
Okay. Do you know which door that's referring to?
I have it stated
Probably the
under
garage door is the only
Owen law.
door that was closed.
Owen-law. So you said.
Do you see a 2047 medical advice for wife?
Yes,
What does that mean?
requesting to be transferred to medical for advice on wife. I'm guessing that they're transferring the person calling to somebody at the fire department or AMR so they can give them CPR instructions.
Right. When someone calls 911, they say, do you need police, fire, medical, right?
Yes.
And oftentimes they'll need both. Agreed?
Agreed.
So when the 911 operator is originally taking the call, she may enter under the computer-aided dispatch system items related to police intervention, right?
Yes.
And then at some point, and in fact, we can see it here in black and white, the person recording requests to be transferred for medical advice, right?
I would say yes.
Okay. And the ladies and gentlemen of the jury have had the benefit of listening to this call. Have you?
No.
Okay. So you
Well,
don't know what's
everyone
being
did.
said in that call.
Correct.
Even as you sit here
I
tonight,
want to
right?
know if
But
it
agree with
was
me, the
true.
contents of that call would speak for themselves, yes?
Yes.
You never answered.
You can't tell anything from the CAD, for instance, whether or not the person reporting, in this case, it's a guy by the name of Tom Randolph, that he actually asks, should I go open the garage door so they can come in? You don't know that, do you?
No.
Does it show anywhere on that CAD report where the medical advisor on the other end of that 911 call
Hey,
tells him not
atheist.
to?
No.
What you do know is when you get there 14 minutes or so after the call, there's other units on scene, right?
Yes.
Somebody goes in the residence initially to make a determination that the female subject, the gunshot wound victim, isn't responsive, right?
Well, the way you just said it, nobody would have gone in the house immediately.
Yeah, I'm
I
not
didn't
talking about immediately. Clearly, you didn't get there for quite a period. of
Right.
time. When you do arrive,
Right.
somebody goes in the house, right?
Correct.
And they identify the female suspect isn't moving.
Yes.
And then you say, hold on, let's back out, right?
Yes.
And then you request SWAT.
Yes.
SWAT means,
The special weapons and tactics. It's the tactical team.
right. Those people have specialized training to enter and clear a scene in a dynamic shooting sequence, right?
Yes.
So like if there's something dangerous, they can go in, they have specialized training that allows them to make sure
Just
everything's
stay
safe
away from the community center.
before other people come in and investigate, right?
Wendy, don't do that.
How long is it that you're outside before the lieutenant says, no, we can go ahead and go?
Why?
Not very long. Without looking at the actual numbers, I'd be guessing, but maybe less than 10 minutes. It wasn't that I requested SWAT, and it was just a matter of minutes before he says, we don't, we can do this ourselves. We don't need SWAT.
Yep. The first entrance to the house involves 4 patrol officers, right?
I'm guessing. I don't remember exactly how many of us went in.
Okay. Well, you said on direct examination it was 4. You wouldn't dispute that, would you?
I'm guessing it was 4. I don't remember the exact number.
Okay. Then they come out, right?
Yes.
Then you request SWAT, correct?
Yes.
Then the lieutenant says, no, we can clear the house, right?
Yes.
And then the house is cleared.
Yes.
By how many officers?
I don't know. I know it was K9, and like I said, I wasn't there to see who actually went in or how
Dear
many went in.
tiny baby Lemmy.
So probably 4
I
the
mean,
first time, right?
It was like
And then you
80
went in the
minutes
house, right?
before they went
Well, I'd be
in.
one of the 4,
Okay. And then
and I
other
went in
peop-
with them.
other
So glad the
people went in
cops
later
are
the
there to
house, right?
save
Yes.
us.
Including
I know.
canine officers, right?
Yeah,
I believe so.
and
According to the
whenever
CAD report, there's at least 2
people are
canine
saying,
units to go in the house.
why
right?
do you need a
No.
pew pew?
Okay.
Just
How
remember
many
this
canine units were at the
was
scene?
in a city.
There were at least 2.
Because they
How
need
many
a
were in the house?
committee to figure out
At
if they're
least
going to
one.
go the F inside.
And when the canine unit goes in, that's a guy with a dog,
Yeah,
right?
and
Correct.
then
Okay.
living
Um,
2 hours outside of a city.
Guy has 2 feet, yes?
The guy has 2 feet?
Yes.
Yes.
Dog has 4?
Yes.
Okay. Dog doesn't have any specialized training in preserving a crime scene, right?
Well, and they just took his word. that
actually
she
go in the
was
garage,
false.
right?
She could have been alive.
But they did. Yes, they did clear the garage when the door opened.
Clearing the garage meaning kind of strategically, like going in, going around, looking, making sure there's no other people there, right? Okay. The reports in the case indicate that there's 1 lieutenant from patrol on scene, right?
Yes.
And then 2 sergeants, you and another,
And the next one
Yes.
has
and then 10 patrol officers.
Hey,
I'm guessing. I don't know the exact number. I didn't count.
long.
Would it surprise you if there were 10 patrol officers listed as being on scene?
No.
Do you have any idea how many people entered the house that night before you left?
No.
Do you have any idea if it was more than 10?
No.
More than 20?
I'd be surprised if it was more than 20.
It's just because the state will try to say that only a guy was in the garage and couldn't have moved the shell casings. So that's why he said the thing about the dog doesn't know how to preserve a crime scene. And the state will really, really like to give the impression that only one guy stood 2 kilometers away with the binoculars and looked inside the house. and the defense would really like to show that at least 10 people ran around inside the house and kicked everything around, because one of the experts said
Yeah.
if people walk around in the house, stuff get moved.
That was a great example. Stood across in the neighbor's
Well-
yard with binoculars.
Yeah, just
Pretty much.
Are we talking
for the
about-
love-
The initial entry, the clearing of the house, the investigative team.
I'm talking
CSI.
about just while you're there.
While I was there, it was just maybe 4 of us initially. Then there would have been the canine team that cleared it, which might have been, I'm guessing, maybe 3 to 4 officers. And after that, I don't know who went in.
Okay. You know from reviewing the CAD that violent crimes detectives go in, right?
I don't know that they actually went in to the home at that point.
You know that violent crimes detectives are there, right?
I saw major crimes. I don't know if I saw violent crimes.
Same thing, right?
No, they're 2 different units.
Okay. What's the difference?
Major crimes deals with, it can involve like large larcenies, burglaries, and violent crimes are usually more of crimes against persons. So in this case, yeah, violent crimes, it would have made sense for violent crimes. But major crimes is always, they're not always logged on at the same time.
I
So
think
whatever unit
Sharp
happens
Dress
to be on,
Lawyer had a really
kinda like,
shitty Sunday because he's looking extra
interchangeable in a
annoyed.
sense. They can do
today.
investigations across whatever their
Yeah.
unit's supposed to do.
Okay. As you sit here today, when you reviewed the CAD, you don't know who the detectives were, right?
Like the
we're
names of the
happy
detectives.
to put a
Not
smile
that I
on your
remember now.
face.
Okay. If it was memorialized in a
You
report
are-
that there were
yes,
3
I'm
separate violent
glad-
crimes detectives, you wouldn't dispute that. No. Okay. And in fact, you know that those detectives request
having a
ID,
better
to come,
day.
right?
Yes.
And ID's the crime scene analysts.
Yes.
Okay. Were you still there when the crime scene analysts got there?
I don't remember.
You agree they're not even called until 2200 hours, right?
That's what the CAD said, yes.
And you have no idea what time they actually arrived.
No.
And you have no idea what happens in the scene between the time the CSAs are requested and when they get there, right?
I don't know what do you mean? Like,
You
I
know-
wasn't in the house, so I didn't see what was going on in the
Right,
house.
precisely my point.
Okay,
Other
yeah.
officers and
Sir, do you
investigators are
know
going in and out of the house,
anything?
right?
So why are you a
Um,
witness?
I don't know. Like I
Lord.
said, I didn't see anybody else going to the house, so I can't really tell you what they were doing.
So
You agree you have no meaningful testimony to give about how many people in the house, right?
Other than the minimum amount that went in.
That might,
It's already been in-
it's not.
Nope.
How many people were in the house?
At a minimum, I'd say 6.
Okay, in total, the whole time in the investigation.
That I don't know.
Okay. In other words, you have no meaningful testimony to give about how many people went in the house that night, right? Okay. As you sit here today, you'd agree with me. You can't tell us how many people went in the house that night, right?
Yes.
Okay. You would agree with me that
he's
according
the only
to
one who
CAD,
has written that sound bicycle.
were you there when they got there?
I don't remember.
They don't get there for a long period of time, right?
I believe that's correct. Yeah.
In fact, the CAD even indicates a delay in their response, right?
Yes.
You have no memory whatsoever of them being there.
No, I remember I really don't remember what time they got there, but I think I remember. I don't know. Maybe the fire department was there, but
You don't dispute that a number of different medical response units arrived at the scene, right?
I don't know who actually showed up. That's the thing. I don't know.
So to answer my question, you don't dispute that, right?
Correct.
The jury's already seen a number of photographs that show indicia of medical intervention on at least one of the decedents. You wouldn't dispute that that happened, right?
No.
And assuming that that person's still at the scene that they're working on, those medical people are in the scene, right?
Yes.
You don't dispute that at all, right? You would agree with me that very early on in the call, the CAD log indicates that the person responding is asking for advice for his wife, right?
Yes.
Okay. When you read that in the CAD report, obviously the call speaks for itself, but that reads to you that the person reporting is asking for advice on how to treat his wife, right?
Yes.
There's a request for medical indicated in the CAD report at 21 hours. Does that sound unusual to you?
No.
Wouldn't you expect medical to respond sooner if the person reporting is asking for medical help with his wife, like immediately in the call?
It kind of depends on the nature of the call. If it's a dynamic call, then medical is not going to be allowed anywhere near the scene, even if somebody's injured.
Okay. Even if the person reporting is saying, will you please get here and help this person? I think she's dying.
Why?
Right. But yeah, I mean, if you're asking for medical, then sure.
Because
And it appears that
medical's
want
not
law
going
enforcement didn't
to
request
show up
medical
to a
until 36
dangerous
hours.
situation. So
Okay.
police are going to have to
I was just
Not
fixated
in
on the
this
fact
case.
that why wouldn't you help somebody?
At 22:05 hours, Mr. Hamner, that's the prosecutor, asked you some questions about requesting medical for the PR. Did you see that?
Yes, I remember.
Indicating that the person reporting actually had some type of injury, right?
Yes.
Objection, not speculative.
Well, he said yes, so it doesn't sound like he's speculating.
It's
Other than he needs somebody who
it's
was with
in the
him
report he
requested
asked for medical.
and they said he wants to be seen.
So somebody putting information into the computer-aided dispatch system memorializes that the person reporting needs medical attention, right?
Yes.
That's what it is.
Why object to that? You just read it 4 hours ago when you tried to make.
Yeah, could we have just
Maybe
stopped
double
with you have nothing meaningful to
For a second.
say?
Okay, so do you remember at the beginning of cross-examination, there were
He doesn't
questions about whether or
remember
not you heard the
nothing.
911
Can
call.
we
Do you
just
remember
stop
that?
this torture?
Okay, so and I think the question posed to you was something along the lines of, well, since you didn't hear the call, you didn't hear dispatch tell the person calling to go open the door. Do you remember being asked that on cross-examination?
Yes.
And since you haven't listened to that call, you wouldn't be aware of whether or not the dispatcher said specifically, go open the front door. You wouldn't be aware of that because you haven't heard the call.
Correct.
And then he said twice, go open the front door, right? You didn't hear it because you never listened to the call.
Correct.
Right? Now, I want to look at, speaking of doors, front door versus garage door. You see this entry here, 2048?
We're never going to be
Please
done
read
with
that
this. They're trying to kill
Entry allowed,
us.
those lines?
It says
I'm just so
27
happy I
suspect
have
is
you
known to
two
PR.
lovely ladies and
Has been scanning him.
37 people in chat
suspect is laying in garage, not moving.
helping me.
PR
not
locked
with this.
door, so suspect is locked in the garage.
Okay, so that dispatch reports that the person reporting
This-
locked the door to the garage because the suspect would be locked in the garage, correct?
Yes.
So when you went in with your 5 officers, you went in through the front door.
Yes.
Right? You didn't go through the garage.
Correct. Yes.
And you didn't walk down a hallway to a garage, correct? Because you just
Correct.
walked the way out. So publishing 82. You never walked down this hallway out that door, did you?
No.
So you and the other 4 or 5 officers didn't trample through that area?
No.
And I mean, I know you haven't been to that side, but you'd have no reason to dispute that that's not the garage door to the garage,
No.
correct? Okay. And if a door is locked, it means that you can't pass through it, correct?
Correct. Yes.
So if you wanted to kick something through, you'd run into that door, right?
Yes.
Because the door's locked.
Yes.
Right? And that's what this is reporting here. But the person reporting, calling 911, told 911, I locked the garage door.
I really hope
Correct.
there's
Right,
something
so-
just showing up.
It would be impossible
Maybe
for
it's
you and your
Spider-Man.
5 officers to move anything into the garage because number one, you didn't go there, right?
Correct.
And that door was locked.
Correct.
Right? Now,
We need the spider ninjas.
Yeah. The cabinet gnomes.
when we get to
It's been a
21,
profound lack of funny things in this case.
it's indicating that the doors are opening and that
The
there's a
little
body in the
bitty-
garage.
Bennies.
Is that
Well,
right?
and the
Yes.
groaning.
Is that a reference to the garage door?
Oh my
opening?
God, yeah.
Groaning.
Yes.
Never mind.
So when K9 is going in and clearing, they're walking through the garage doors, right?
Yes.
You didn't
Which groaning?
I think we have an age that's 16 or something.
Significant
Wrong one. This one.
Number 8,
It's kind of like if Americans go to Denmark.
during review of the footage
Where
from
we
the phone
don't-
cameras that
you
were
can bring-
installed,
I think we have an age that's 16 or
a
something. but-
significant removal of the
Yeah,
seat
that's-
from the rear windshield of the vehicle.
That groaning is from this case. The first sound was allegedly Thorbird.
Oh my god!
Most
If
cat.
it was me, I'd take it because oh my gosh, living with boys, the loudest one was choice and perfect. I'm just saying, if it had been me, that
That
was epic,
freaking
but
that grunting. Oh my God. We have to Farrell needs to get together and make a little clip show of different trials with different things just for our entertainment.
I'm just happy Farrell sent me stuff like this, so I have some things to play.
we
Because
just need to have a whole fart reel with this particular face right here because
Yeah.
he's bothered me just because this is so boring. I mean, what are we going to glean from this other than they died for at some period of time? They went into the house and they found 2 dead bodies at some point. I mean, unless they found a Post-it note that said, "Hey, Mike, kill my wife at some point."
Yeah.
This advances the case nowhere.
And again, at some point, the canine unit opened that door and went through that door, and the dog could have disturbed the crime scene. The guy walking the dog could have disturbed, or some of the medical personnel who came later, because they didn't do a crime scene investigation right at that second.
See any entry from the moment here saying that the garage door is locked. The door to the garage is locked, and then the garage doors themselves kind of lifting up and opening, that someone opened the door from the hallway into the garage. You don't see anything reported on the CAD with respect to that, correct?
Correct.
And your understanding is when canine units walked in, they're walking in from the street into the garage.
Yes, correct.
So, where is that pesky photo? Oh.
Stupid. It's like they're just, I don't know.
So if the door is locked, if that door is locked and the canine unit walked in, they'd just be walking in the garage, correct?
Yes.
You don't remember the canine unit going through the front door, walking down the hallway, out that door, and then into the garage, correct?
Correct.
So the canine's officer's 2 legs and those dogs' 4 legs wouldn't be traipsing through that area to make it into the garage. They came in literally through the open.
He wasn't there when they went.
He doesn't know.
Okay, well, he is correct.
He wasn't there. He said I wasn't there when the dogs were there. I was
Yeah.
going up and down the neighborhood.
If we were mildly paying attention and we can get this, how is it he was?
Yeah.
Maybe suit
Yeah,
guy
and-
will stand up and be like, "Were you there? No. All right. Well,
Yeah.
debunk all that.
Did you see the officer with the dog inside the house? No, I was canvassing the street. Okay, bye.
Bye."
Yeah. And and it would be more interesting to find out if the four-legged dog had 3 feet or 4 feet than this. And this argument, the defense just has to stand up and say, did you or did you not testify that the dog wasn't there in the house with you? I'm feeling like this.
It's kind of like if Americans go to Denmark.
During review of the footage
Where
from
we
the phone
don't-
cameras that
you
were
can bring-
installed,
I
they
think
just
we
noticed
have
that
it
there
as
was
16 or
a
something. but-
significant removal of the
Yeah,
seat
that's-
from the rear windshield of the vehicle.
I'll rephrase. Do you have any recollection of a canine unit waltzing through that hallway?
No.
Okay. What is your understanding of when the canine unit went in? Did they go through the garage door or did they go through the front door and make their way to the garage?
They entered through the garage door.
Okay.
Yeah, the blue top that was a rain jacket that was.
You've been doing this for how many years? As a police officer, how many years did you work as a police officer?
Who cares?
29.
How big is it as a
Hey, Lisa.
priority to keep a scene preserved when there are 2 bodies inside?
Very important.
Based on your years of doing that, do you guys become more lax in terms of, come on in when there's multiple bodies inside the
Yeah.
house, or do you become more concerned about making sure people don't go in?
No, you come
The
really
second,
concerned
yeah,
to
especially if
check
there's
if people are
violent
dead.
crime, in this case, like a homicide.
Yeah.
Got to be really careful with everything.
And just to be clear, I mean, you're not the only person trained to do that. Are other patrol officers and violent crime detectives and gang detectives taught in the same manner to preserve the integrity of the scene?
Yes.
Do you have any reason to believe that even after you left the scene, that your fellow detectives would then let just countless people waltz through the scene?
He can't
Is there any
testify
reason
to that.
believe
He wasn't there.
Detectives who were there and the officers who were there
How
would just
can he
let
testify?
an inordinate amount of people go
He can't-
waltzing through the scene after you left?
No, that wouldn't happen.
Why not?
That's
Because you could,
speculation.
That's
You can contaminate the crime scene.
sorry, that would never happen.
Bullshit.
He can't say that because at some point at some murder scene that had happened. I will bet you that it had happened, or it could potentially in the future happen.
But it's also speculation. He's having an entire hypothetical, like speculative thing. I think again, it has he's he's not an expert of anything, considering he can't figure out anything. He has not said a declarative sentence in about 40 minutes. I can't with this man.
Yeah, the other lawyer had
Lucky you are bothering the shit out of me.
Or alter it, or
Okay. So your understanding is there were only at a minimum 6 people when you were there, correct?
yes.
That went in, right? And just to be clear, when you have an entry here, do you see where it says here? I'll try to zoom in. It says K98 subject in garage, and then it says 583 GC interior clear. Is that reporting multiple officers or a singular officer? What do those call signs signify?
K98 is the K9 unit who sees the suspect in the garage deceased, and 583 GC is the sergeant who's telling the dispatcher the interior's been cleared.
Okay. I have no further questions. Thanks, Witness.
You didn't even win anything there, you dummy.
Just curious. You ever seen anybody waltz in a crime scene?
Yeah.
Yes.
Waltz?
Well, depending on the crime scene, yes. I mean, I don't know what you mean by
He asked the
waltz.
question a bunch of times about whether or not you were waltzing
Foxtrot?
through the crime scene. Like a waltz is a dance, right?
Jesus.
It could be, yes.
Oh, for
No, it
God's
Seen
couldn't
somebody
be.
dance in a crime scene?
You see
Oh,
anybody?
Lord.
Um,
Oh,
You have
no.
no
He
idea
has.
how many people passed through that door from the hallway to the garage prior to crime scene analysts getting there, right?
Correct.
Oh, shit, you guys. This
You
man
couldn't
is on a
possibly tell
petty
us how many
level
people were
shitty.
in and out of
like-
the garage that evening.
He's retired.
He is highly.
He's retired and
This
coming
See
back.
how
lawyer-
hard
to say,
he is blinking? Oh my god. He's getting him all flustered.
This lawyer is highly done and full, like, petty verse level
I
empress.
love him right now.
Full salted earth fuck face, like, done. Sorry for the cursing, but he is like,
yeah, I'm never
okay,
getting
we wanna
monetized,
go
so
here.
that's no problem.
he's like waltz, foxtrot. You want to go? Okay. All right. We have taken off the
Anybody
earrings. Like he
Dance
is,
on a crime scene.
he is like, he's like, okay.
Oh my god. No, like do you
Have you
notice
seen
he's
anyone
really
waltz?
listening? Like he's really listening to what the guy's saying. And like I really like the way he does his thing.
I know, but he is just he is done with the shenanigans. He is
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, and
He has
he's
had
taking the
himself a
mic.
bad weekend.
Yeah.
He is like, I'm out.
And he's
No more
taking the mic
shenanigans.
with the. Did you see anyone waltz or what? Because it's just implying how stupid that question was. And hello, Shaquille.
Hello.
And I really like the way he's. I didn't like the way he was fake sympathetic with people, but this where he's just taking the ever loving crap out of the defense, the state. I like that.
Prior to crime scene analysts impounding evidence, right?
Yes.
You should kill oatmeal.
You know what you did, right?
Yes.
And you know what the officers you were responsible for did, right?
Yes.
There's a lot of people there that night that you're not responsible for.
Correct.
Both people in law enforcement, yes.
Yes.
And some of those people have very different job descriptions than yours, right?
Correct.
Canine units, for example, very different than yours, right?
Yes.
Medical responders, you have no idea how many were in and out of that scene, right?
Correct.
They have much different training than a law enforcement officer, right?
Yes.
They're not so concerned about preservation of a crime scene because they're more concerned about saving a life, right?
That correct.
Okay. He asked you, he being a prosecutor, in the 29 years that you've done this, like it's real important to preserve a crime scene in a double homicide, right?
Yes.
For instance, like if there was a double homicide where there was a crime scene where no blood evidence was documented, and then it was cleaned up, and a week later somebody came back out, that would be a difficult crime scene for a jury to analyze, right?
Objection, that's argumentative.
It's not.
For a jury to analyze?
How was it?
Okay. Could you repeat all
Sure.
that? Sure.
In a case where there's a double homicide,
Okay.
and at the scene of the double homicide, when crime scene analysts get there, isn't preserved or documented at all, no blood evidence, and then the scene's cleaned, and then a week later, a crime scene analyst comes back out to document blood evidence. That'd be really difficult, right?
Yes.
Because the scene's been contaminated, hasn't it?
Yes.
Oops.
Nothing else.
Again, they hit the ball straight down the middle every time. every expert has had to retract something another expert had put into this trial.
Yes.
They're really good at what they do. I really like his lawyers. I like that guy.
Yes.
Oh, this computer's there. Oh, Jeebus in heaven. Sweet 7 pounds 3 ounces baby Jeebus. I imagine baby Jesus wearing like a tux t-shirt, so it's formal but still cool. I love that movie.
You can tell. It is a good one.
I love when he steals his wife and he's calling him in the evening because he misses him. He said, "You can't call me. I hate you." "But why? You stole my wife and my kids." "Oh, but are you coming over to watch the game?" He's such an idiot. Oh,
What's the big deal? Yeah.
It's Dean, D-E-A-N, O'Kelly, O-K-E-L-L-E-Y.
that was a community wife too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he did.
Well, we're confused.
Alexandra, that's because my sister and my oldest daughter both have names that people always mispronounce, and my last name, nobody can say it right. So I try, even though I went to the David Helms School of Names and stuff, I try to read the name before I try to say it. David probably calls you as Sanran. So Alexandra, I'll try to do it because you yelled at me when I didn't notice you that when you changed your name from Lexi.
I still call her Lexi.
Hey, Farrell, I saw that you turned.
Hello.
You did something, so David had to be your attorney.
Okay, Your Honor, I'm just gonna start from here just so I can kind of organize a few things.
Yeah,
All right, sir.
cleaning up the crime scene and
What did you
going
used to
back
do
a
for a
week
living?
later. Oh my God.
Before I retired, I was a homicide detective with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department.
And what do you do today?
I went back to do cold case homicide investigation back in September of 2015, so coming up on 8 years doing that as well.
How many years before your first retirement with Metro, how many years did you work with Metro?
20 years and 10 months.
Okay, and you may have just said it. How many years were you in homicide, not cold case, we'll put that aside for a second, but how many years were you with homicide?
9 years to the day. I retired on my anniversary date.
Okay. If you could, tell me a little bit about some of the training that you have received over your years as a police officer.
No, don't.
I know it may sound a little lengthy, but if you could.
Well, in total, the numbers the last time I looked at was over 3,200 hours of training, including the academy. So we've gone through the academy and then field training. And then I also
We're a little bit behind,
was a
so I can
patrol
speed up
officer for a
with
couple
this.
of years. So there's extensive training there as well.
Yeah.
I had, after the 1992 Rodney King riots, I was part of the department's first rifle team where we started carrying patrol rifles. There was 80 hours of training there. I was in the gang unit for 7 years, so I have extensive training in street gangs. We had quite a few conferences. We actually have an advantage here in Las Vegas because everybody comes here to train. So there's a lot of agencies that
I pictured him as an expert in both the Crips and Bloods, you know, when you first came on. And Latin Kings.
Conferences, both for gangs, and then when I intended to go into homicide.
Why are
I
we
did some,
talking
I took some courses
LA
on homicide
riots now?
investigation, practical homicide investigation through. There was a
I don't
retired
why.
lieutenant
Yeah,
commander
why
in
is
New
he?
York Police Department that wrote.
It's
book
like the
on
people when
practical
they tell a
homicide
story, they
investigations.
always
We had
always have
conferences
to
every
go
year.
back
I've
to
been
Adam
doing
and
that
Eve.
several times. Just,
And
you
the
know,
next
continuous
meeting you have
ongoing
with them,
education in addition to
they
you know,
start
taking
with
care
Adam
of
and Eve again,
taking
just so you
both.
can keep
I'm
up.
part of the international homicide.
And you never go
Investigation
anywhere
don't-
because
this-
California homicide investigations would do their annual conference here in
Jesus,
Nevada, and I've attended
Mary
several times.
and
So just
Joseph
as much training as you can get.
and all the little gnomes.
In your career,
Yes.
approximately how many homicide scenes have you gone to?
Over 300.
Prior to that,
Well,
how many?
I don't have
home burglary,
PayPal.
home
I don't.
robbery,
I'm not
scenes have you
monetized,
responded to
so
in your career?
I really wouldn't be able to give you a number. One of the advantages of working in the gang
we will
unit
have
is
to
we
go to
investigated
Jamie's.
the
And
person
I
committing
can't
the
drink
crime
today
and not
because I have
the
to
crime
drive
itself. So
tomorrow
we
at
had
7
that.
o'clock.
We could do burglary investigations or credit card fraud investigations or drug investigations. So we had quite a range of experience working in gangs because, again, it's the person, not the crime that's being investigated. So I wouldn't be able to estimate really, but quite a few, dozens, certainly.
Understood. Tell me a little bit about what firearms training you've received through the course of your life.
So there's the Academy firearms training. Well, in the course of my life, I was a military policeman way back in 1981. So I had that training in the military with the 45 caliber handgun back then and the M16, which is a fully automatic version of what you hear about the AR-15. So I had extensive firearms training there.
Yeah, I know they're going over his
team, so kind of
CV
like
to be an expert.
McClellan,
but again,
so I was part of their response
start
team,
with the parts that matter, not Adam and Eve.
After I left
we need
the
to
Army,
hear
I
about
was at a nuclear power facility in Arizona, where I was a response team member for a couple of years. Then I was promoted, and I was a response team leader for 5 years before I came here to Metro.
All right. Detective, did you respond to 6517 Rancho Santa Fe here in Las Vegas, Clark County on May 8th, 2008?
I did.
Around what time do you get to that scene?
About quarter after 10 p.m. is when I responded, when I arrived. I think it's 10:19 to be specific.
All right. If you could, tell me a little bit about the homicide unit. Are you familiar with the term like a squad, a homicide squad?
Correct.
What is that in reference to?
Well, back when this occurred, there were 4 sergeants over homicide. There were 6 people on each squad. So I was part of Rocky Alby's squad. You had a designated partner that you worked with. My partner was Rob Wilson at the time. He was on vacation when this occurred, so he didn't respond. And then we have 2 other 2-man teams on our squad, and we'd have a rotation that went through all of the squads.
All right. When you arrive if you arrive to a homicide scene and your group is tasked out there, how do you guys divide up? How's the division of labor work typically?
We take turns as partners. So if you're up in rotation, that means you and your partner are going to catch the next case. And it just flip-flops back and forth between whether you were the person that took the lead last time, and then it would be your partner's turn this time. It's completely random. In this situation, again, my partner was on vacation, so no matter whether it was my turn or not, I was going to be the lead detective on the case.
And who was your partner at that time?
Robert Wilson. We were partners for 7 years total in homicide.
All right. When you get to the scene and you're up and Detective Wilson is gone, what was the responsibility that night for you?
So I was responsible for investigating the crime scene itself. And then there were other detectives that responded to the scene for the briefing initially. So we had Detective Long, we had Detective Mogg, Detective Hardy all from our squad. And then Sergeant Albee was there, our lieutenant was there as well.
Let me ask you this. When these multiple members of your homicide squad show up, do they all just start waltzing through the crime scene?
Oh my
No.
God.
Okay. Do they walk through the crime scene?
No, initially
for the
we were
love
waiting
of
for every
Cheetos.
last
Don't be
person
funny if
who's
you're a
been
lawyer,
assigned to
because you're not naturally funny.
case to respond.
Sir, you are
And
not
so
funny
I'm not too
other
far
than
from
looking
where
a
this
bit
occurred.
like
I'm at the
Steve
west end of
Buscemi,
Cheyenne, so I was
okay?
one of the first to arrive. And then we have Detective Long, who's way
Well,
southeast
why
of the
not
valley.
all-
He was the last to
You
arrive.
can
I wanna
always
say at
keep us
around,
yammering in the
10:40.
background.
So even though I'd gotten
there,
there 20 minutes earlier, we
så
wait
godt,
until
og,
everybody's there.
vi
The
ses,
senior
når du er
crime
klar
scene
igen.
analyst that's going to be on the scene, the CSA and the crime scene analyst supervisor. So we all brief it at once instead of trying to parse it out, one as each person arrives. So we didn't brief until probably, I'd say, a quarter till 11.
And I know you can't speak to what happened from personal knowledge prior to that, but when you're there, from what you could observe, were there a lot of people walking in and out of the crime scene?
No.
Okay. Is there a protocol that Metro puts in place to ensure that doesn't happen?
Yes.
Okay. And as far as you could observe, there were not people going in and out of the crime scene.
There was nobody going in and out of the crime scene.
As the lead detective on this
Nobody.
case, if you did see people doing that, would you stepped in and said something?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, around what time do you start doing the processing of the scene?
Well, again, we're going to have that briefing with the initial responding officers. That takes quite a bit of time. And then, although I didn't meet Mr. Randolph on the night that this occurred at the scene, I know that consent to search the house was obtained and given by Mr. Randolph to Detectives Mogg and Hardy before they transported him to out where the Detective Bureau was located at the time, which was Okie and Decatur, for their interview with him.
Okay, so Detective Mogg and Detective Hardy interviewed Thomas Randolph on that night.
They did.
And do you see Thomas Randolph in the courtroom today?
I do.
Could you please point out where he is and maybe describe an article of clothing that he's wearing?
He's at the defense table. He's wearing a blue shirt, has short white hair, and he's wearing headphones.
All right, let the record reflect the witnesses identified the defendant. So Is that a factor, for example, going into a home to start processing? Do you need consent or something else before you start going in and processing a scene?
Yes, either consent or oftentimes that's not even available given the scene. And then a search warrant would be prepared by our sergeant. Telephonic search warrant, we would have the search warrant in hand before we went in to search.
So you said you were provided a briefing
Telephonics
from
just
patrol,
sound
is
like
that
a
right?
disco band.
That's
from
correct.
the
What were the
70s.
basic details as you understood
I
them
know it
before you
sounds like the
started,
talking head and the
scene walkthrough?
telephonics are here to see
It was
you.
Sergeant Darren Densley that gave us
In the
the briefing
Coliseum.
primarily. And he told us that Mr. Randolph had conveyed to them that he was out with his wife earlier in the evening, that they had gone to the charcoal room, which is at the Santa Fe casino. And once they had gotten home from that outing, from the dinner, that Mr. Randolph had pulled up into the drive, that there's not enough room for both people to get out. So his wife got out of the car and walked into the house while Mr. Randolph parked the vehicle in the garage. Then Mr. Randolph had gone into the house. He saw his wife at the opposite end of the north-south hallway there.
Well, it's not beyond the scope of the question, but it is what is basically related. I can try to break it up like. Sure. Where does the defendant say he goes after dinner?
He said that he went home. I don't know if we got that he had gone to the gas station. We learned that later, but he had gone home after dinner.
Okay. And when he
See you
arrives
later,
home,
Wendy.
who does he say
Have
enters the
fun
house first?
adulting.
He said his wife got out of the vehicle and walked in so he could park in the garage.
Okay. And then what does he say happened
Have
next with respect to
fun.
him?
He said that he went into the garage, into the house, and that he saw his wife laying face down in the hallway.
Where does he say he goes after that?
He said that he saw some sort of movement, so he went into the office that was right inside the hallway, and he retrieved
As your guess is as
a
good as
handgun
mine.
from a hanging shoe rack, and then came back out into the hallway.
Okay. Does he see someone when he starts to make his way out of the hallway?
He said that he basically was confronted by a man wearing a ski mask in the hallway, that they collided in the doorway.
What does he say he does to the man in the hallway?
He said that he shot him several times.
Okay, in the hallway.
In the hallway. And then when he went to the...
At this point, he's describing a briefing, and I believe we're going to hear another statement today. And so he was just giving a rendition of what he thinks was said. I mean, we've already heard the statements, and so I would object to hearsay.
Your Honor, it's not being, sure.
I really hope she's getting really angry.
She's keeping it pretty fair.
Like a couple.
Yeah,
He
but
just- He looks so old. Like he just doesn't even care.
no, he's going to die before his appeal is over if he's getting.
Yeah. I mean, he has bypassed the unicorns, fart glitters or sparkles, and he's just into lawn gnomes. Like, why are they
As I was
wearing?
saying,
Why are
as
they
you-
dressed like gnomes?
As you spoke to him, he relays that he's doing shooting in the hallway. Is that right?
And Sergeant Densley's given the briefing that he shot him as he was going into the garage.
And ultimately, does he also indicate that he shoots? Randolph indicates to the patrol officer that he shot like a couple more times in the garage when he's on the ground in the garage. Yes. Understood. Yes, Your Honor. Right. So you're getting a briefing from Densley, right?
Correct.
Okay. Densley spoke to
Then
Randolph, right?
Densley should be
Yes.
on the stand.
And Densley is relaying
This
to
is
you
hearsay.
some background information, correct?
Right, the briefing.
Yeah.
So they're
I don't-
shooting in the hallway, but then there's a couple more shots, I guess, when he's just falls into the
This,
garage.
how did she allow this questioning to go on? Because he wasn't there. He didn't talk to him. And now he's testifying what he said. That's
I don't.
100% hearsay.
Yeah, and we're Daryl Brooks legalists, and we know that. I mean, that's even pre-law basics.
Yeah, that's before
feel
we
smarter.
figure out if there's subject matter jurisdiction.
I
That's-
know. I feel
Yeah, but they objected to this questioning, and she allowed it, and then she said it wasn't okay, and now he's doing exactly the same thing, talking about what did you hear somebody else was told, and that is hearsay. That's as far as I know, but I'm not a lawyer, and I don't give any legal advice because I'm just a stupid monkey
Yeah.
pressing buttons.
pretty much. Me too. Same.
Yeah, he's probably thinking, if I have to put up with the blue-haired biddies, I could just go to prison.
Yeah. He's like, wait a minute. If I go out, I have to deal with them women out in public. Never mind. I'll stay in.
Yeah, if he goes out, he'll have wife number 7 before the year is over.
The
This
man
just
doesn't want to
has,
do laundry by himself.
yeah, he can't cook. But this judge has been pretty good so far.
I don't remember him saying a couple, but yes, there's a shot in the garage, he said.
Okay. So you mentioned that Detective Mogg and Detective Hardy conducted an interview with the defendant that night. Is that right?
Yes, they did, and into the morning.
And when you process this scene, it's from what time to what time?
We probably got into the scene around 11 o'clock. Excuse me. Yes, 11 o'clock. And I wasn't done and cleared the scene until I'd say 4:30, 4:20 in the morning is when we finally got out of the house.
Okay. The interview that Detective Hardy and Detective Mogg that interview starts somewhere around 11:30, 11:45, something like that, correct?
I believe they have them in the interview room at 11:54, and they came into the room at about quarter after midnight.
Okay, so it rolls over into midnight. But that interview is completed during this window of time that you're processing a scene.
Yes, it was. It was done just before 2 o'clock.
Do you then get an update after they are done with their interview where they update you as to the things that were said by the defendant?
Yes, specifically, Detective Mogg came back to the scene, and I talked to him once he got back about the interview.
Okay, so you had a general understanding from Detective Mogg, and we've seen that interview already, but you have a general understanding from Detective Mogg about the things the defendant said happened. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. So when you walked this scene, when you process it, who are you doing it with? Who's walking with you, if you even remember?
Initially, the detectives, everybody that responded is going to take a look in there. So I know that Detectives Mogg and Hardy, Detective Long, and myself went into, and Sergeant Albee, along with the crime scene analysts that are going to be processing the scene, so they can get, primarily for Detectives Mogg and Hardy, so that they can get the lay of the land and be able to have an informed interview with Mr. Randolph back at the Detective Bureau. And once that's done, initially superficially looking at it, then it's just myself and the crime scene analysts that are in the scene. Everybody else is out of the house.
When you initially walk through with your fellow detectives, do you observe anyone kicking any cartridge cases anywhere?
No.
Do you see any of your fellow detectives stomping through blood or anything like that?
No.
Well, he's not really an expert. He's the lead
like that?
investigator.
Do you see any evidence that the people you walked to the scene with were disturbing the scene?
No.
Or else he would have to have a written statement that he.
I want to show you what's been admitted as States 82. What are we looking at here?
We're standing in the north-south hallway of the residence and looking north at the closed firewall door that leads into the garage.
After speaking with Detective Mogg, after his interview is completed, after listening to the patrol briefing about what Mr. Randolph had to say to them, is this your understanding where Mr. Randolph begins to open fire on Mr. Miller?
Yes, you see on the right side there, that is the open door to the office where Mr. Randolph said he retrieved the 9mm handgun from the shoe rack. And that doorway is where he says he collided with Mr. Miller as he was running towards the end of the hallway.
And there appear to be another closed door, but are you referring to the open door there?
The open door on the right, you see in the forward part.
Kelly, if you look at that mouse, if you move it around, you can actually kind of, even if you just kind of, or that little circle, you can just put it, can you just kind of show us where that door, all right, let the record reflect the witness has identified what appears to be the open doorway on the right in the photograph. So when you've been to a lot of shooting scenes, right?
Yes, I have.
I mean, how many are we talking about here?
I mean, including when I was in gangs, I mean, it's hundreds.
Okay. When you go to a shooting scene and you're under the impression that this is an area of a shooting scene, do you expect to see certain things?
Yes, I would.
What sort of things do you typically expect to see?
Well, given that we're talking about a semi-automatic handgun, we would see expended shell casings. If there are perforating gunshot wounds where there's an entrance and an exit, which we do have in this case, I would expect to find bullets, blood, maybe secondary impacts where the bullet had gone through and then hit the wall or hit the door. That's what you would see. Sometimes an expended magazine where someone had to reload, that type of thing.
In this scene, did you see how many expended cartridge cases do you find in this hallway?
There was one 9mm by 18 cartridge case that was nearly in the center of the threshold to the garage, a couple of inches away from the threshold itself.
Okay, and we've seen some of those photos, but if you take your mouse, can you kind of show us the general area where that was?
Actually, it's right there.
All right, let the record reflect the witness took the mouse and identified a little almost like golden brown object, which is appears to be a cartridge case right at the lip of the door to the garage. Just to be clear, when you walked through this scene here, was that door closed?
No.
That's
Okay,
kind of
that door
weird.
was open?
That door was open.
Okay.
But he had to
So
talk
it had
about
been propped
Rodney
open
King.
before, and when they took a photograph at this point, it's closed. Is
Yes.
that right? Okay. So, so
Exactly.
you would have, so when you went to this scene, you mentioned you'd expect to see cartridge cases. Did you expect, from what you had heard, would you expect to
Well,
have seen more cartridge cases?
You know, the
Yes, I
White
would.
Rabbit and I has
Did you
some
observe
sort
any
of beef,
blood in
so
this area?
No, not in that area.
Where did you observe blood?
What can you do?
We saw blood basically where in the area where I saw blood in the area where the camera person would be positioned, so towards the south end of the hallway, and then on the walls to the east, and on the ceiling, and above the master bedroom door, on the master bedroom door itself, on the Berber carpet into the master bedroom, and as well as higher up on the eastern wall.
And so when you're talking about, is that the area generally where Sharon is located?
That's correct.
Okay, not in the area where Mr. Randolph indicated that he shot multiple times at Mr. Miller.
No, there was none.
When you walked in this area, were you alone when you walked in this area, or did you initially have, Mog, Hardy, people like that walking with you?
Initially, they would have come in and taken a look at the scene along with me. Yes.
Do you recall anyone remarking when you're in this area, oh, look, there's some blood? Anyone say anything like that?
No.
How about CSA Smith?
No.
I mean, isn't that kind of his job too?
It is.
Listen for that sort of stuff. So he doesn't remark and see anything here.
That's correct.
You don't see anything here.
No.
And all the other detectives that walk with you didn't see anything there.
No.
All right. Have you been to shooting scenes that are
Friday
kind of in close quarters? I mean, this is a hallway, right? Versus
That
an open
early.
field.
Yes.
Do you have any expectations
I
about
hope
what
you
you
feel
might
better on
expect
the
to find
antibiotics work.
if a shooting scene occurs in kind of close quarters?
Again, because of it's going to retain the projectiles as they come out, the expended cartridges would be retained in that close quarters area.
Nope.
If there's perforating
The
gunshot wounds,
experts
you could
said
potentially find
you
bullets
can't
in that
say that.
area. You would find, again, if it's perforating, you would see blood and possibly bone and tissue and hair related to those gunshot wounds.
How about strikes to the wall? Could that be something that you expect? Like a ricochet of a bullet kind of, or even a cartridge case ricocheting off of drywall or something like that?
That's possible, I guess. I mean, with a cartridge case itself, it just depends. I mean, they're cylindrical in shape. If you were close to a smooth surface and the cartridge case landed on the open end, you might see a little semicircle if it's possible. It would be difficult to differentiate between just regular wear and tear on a wall to be able to specifically say that you think that's where a cartridge case hit. They don't come out covered in soot where they're leaving a black mark or anything like that. You can be at the range all day and we do police call and we pick up brass and your hands aren't covered in soot.
All right. So we've covered parts. How about bullets? So you said these were perforating wounds, right?
Right.
So they went through the body.
Correct.
Would you expect to see a bullet impact somewhere in that hallway?
Certainly.
Did you see any impacts in that
No.
hallway? However, when you look in the area towards Sharon, did you find an impact?
Yes, we did.
And was that noted and documented?
Yes, it was.
I'd like to turn your attention to the garage. When you get out to the garage, do you start to see evidence of firearms being used in the garage?
Yes.
What do you locate in the?
Sal, we know you like just a tip.
Yeah, I don't like women.
You walk right into that one.
Garage.
Boy, oh boy.
We found a bullet. I found because we were together, the crime scene analysis process as well. But there was a bullet to the right front corner of the Hyundai Tucson. We found a cartridge case over there on the west side of the Hyundai Tucson. We found a flattened out bullet that had come to rest underneath the right rear passenger seat area of the Hyundai Tucson. And we found an expended 9mm by 18 cartridge case on the east side of the
I know
Pontiac
they want
G6, which was parked on
to
the east side of
imply
the garage.
he did an execution.
I know you
crime
go
in the
back there
garage,
a week later, correct?
but
Yes, we did
no
to the day.
evidence
Are there other
has
things that are
been
found
proved-
a week
put in
later in that garage?
Yes, there were.
What
that
else? What else was
by
found?
any of the
Two
experts.
additional 9mm by 18 cartridge cases were found on the west side.
His mask were half off when he was lying in the garage. And again, this guy probably did it, but they just didn't prove it. And that's the big problem in this case. It's all the ifs and buts that's thrown into this case, but none of the really hard evidence. And every expert on cross-examination have had to retract some of their 100% certain that this happened thing. And I'm looking forward to the cross-examination of this guy, because he knows everything at 100% certain. Even the things that was said in a briefing was let in. It's not hearsay. I don't know why, but this is a really good time to stop. He looks like he's been 420ing all morning.
Oh
The
yeah,
garage,
he is
actually
not.
in the southwest area, there was
Yes, the Jim
an
Brewer
open
eyes.
toolbox that had a bunch of screws and nuts and bolts and everything, and it had shell casing that landed in a small compartment there. And then there was another shell casing that was north of the water heater, and it was behind like a milk jug or a 1 gallon water jug laying there on the floor. So now we had two additional. So we had a total with the one at the threshold and the 2 we originally recovered that night, and then the 2 the following week we had the 5 shell casings.
Based on your observations in the hallway,
I'm
based on
really
your
looking
observations in the
forward to
garage,
your aneurysm.
based
Can you
on what
taste
you've
metal
learned
yet?
Mr. Randolph said occurred, was what you're seeing in these 2 different areas significant for your investigation?
Yes, it was.
Why?
Every time he annoys me, I'm just going to
Because
again.
we didn't find in
Bunny,
the hallway
stop it.
what we would have expected to find, given
It's only going to get worse.
I don't think this question has been asked and answered.
I don't think it's been asked and answered either. Like, how does he?
Well, my question to him
Could
is,
you use your
was
microphone to
significant?
object?
We can
Holy
approach
crap,
that if you
Ola.
want. Yeah.
Judge is getting feisty too. I like that, because she's annoyed with this a-hole too.
Thank you very
You
much.
know, the defendant looks
Why was
confused
that
as
significant
I
for your
do.
investigation?
because we
still here?
didn't find
Why?
in the hallway ballistic evidence that supported the description that Mr. Randolph had given for the shooting. But we did find that ballistic evidence in the garage, which gave us an indication that the shooting actually occurred in the garage or right at the door leading into the garage.
Now, I want to turn your attention to that garage for a moment.
And again, it's 2 steps from
publishing
the door where he grabbed the gun to the garage door.
That's the deceased Michael Miller.
He could.
And now I'm publishing.
Please don't get my.
Is there something in this photograph that was significant in your investigation?
Yes, there was. This is a ski mask that was found in this position when we arrived at the scene.
When you examined it, did you notice anything about its condition?
Yes, the crime scene analyst with gloves examined it. We did not find any defects in it, like bullet holes or blood on the ski mask or tissue or anything else.
That's a problem.
Based off of what was relayed to you by Mr. Randolph, was the fact that there wasn't any, and I don't want to, let me backtrack because I just didn't listen to the answer to the end of your answer.
moved forward
You mentioned the noble
while-
did you see any apparent blood on that mask?
No blood or tissue.
Okay. Given the absence of bullet holes, blood, and apparent tissue, was that significant in relation to what you had learned from Mr. Randolph?
Yes, it was.
Why?
Because Mr. Randolph described colliding with Mr. Miller in the doorway, and he was wearing the ski mask, and that he started shooting at him continuously until he went to the floor in the garage. And then he fired an additional 1 or 2 rounds into Michael Miller's
The
head.
defense is going to ask, have you ever encountered someone at the
this
crime
masked
scene who
individual something
couldn't
that is
remember
relayed
everything
in general on the
100%?
911 call?
Yes.
Is this shooting at
Yeah,
Mr. Miller when he's wearing a mask relayed in his May 9th interview?
Yes.
Is that same information about shooting Mr. Miller while he's wearing a mask relayed during the walkthrough a week later?
Yes.
And was that information about shooting Mr. Miller while he's wearing a mask relayed in his June 3rd interview?
Yes.
Okay, I know we'll get to that interview later, but the bottom line is that is something that is relayed by Mr. Randolph multiple times.
Correct.
When you walked towards the kitchen area, did you notice that there was
Thank you
any
so much.
doors that gave an access
was the
point
first thing
out
coming out of my
of
closet
the interior
today.
of the house?
Yes, there were
Just like Sal coming
doors
out
on
of the closet.
the south side of the house off of the kitchen.
Okay. Were those doors open when you arrived?
Yeah, I don't like women.
Was that of significance in your investigation?
Well, it could have been. We weren't sure if maybe the door was open.
Thank you, Farrell. No, she's with you, Farrell.
So can you clarify that?
At all times processing the scene, detective, do you have someone with you?
Yes, the crime scene analyst, there's a senior crime scene analyst and then a CSA 2 that are going to be at the scene the entire time.
And just for clarification, my question was
I'll
it
be right back.
significant for your investigation? When you're using the word we, are you referring to yourself and Detective Wilson? Are you referring to CSA? It's just the pronoun gets a little confusing, but.
I get it. I'll say I.
Okay.
I saw that the doors are open and that could be significant, given that could be an entry point for Mr. Miller into the residence.
Were there any signs of forced entry to that back door?
There were not.
Ultimately, when you start reviewing, do you observe in the garage some plastic bags?
Yes.
All right. What are contained in those plastic bags?
It's clothing. There was a pair of pants and there was a plaid shirt. There was a pair of, well, not a pair of tennis shoes. There's one tennis shoe and the other tennis shoe is underneath Mr. Miller's leg.
All right. Do you find any jewelry in that bag?
Not in the plastic bag, no.
Okay. Is there a black fabric bag as well?
Yes, there was a black fabric Walmart bag that was there. There was a towel in there and a Megabucks t-shirt, and there was quite a bit of costume jewelry.
Okay. Were there keys also located?
Yes, there were.
Where were those keys found?
Inside the black fabric bag.
I want to publish 168. Is this the contents of the jewelry within the black fabric bag?
Yes, it was.
All right. There are how many keys down here in the corner?
There are 4 keys. The one on the left was found to open the front and back door. The one next to it was found to open the safe found in the Randolph's master bedroom closet. And those are 2 of those round high security keys. We didn't find what those went to. Those are in the bag as well.
But all 4 are found inside that black bag.
Correct.
When you walked through the kitchen, did it appear to be rummaged through at all?
No, not at all. It was very, very neat and tidy, except for one. There was a knife on the cutting board that seemed out of place.
Okay. How about the kind of the family TV room? Did that appear rummaged through at all?
No.
Was there a kind of a more formal sitting room as well?
Yes.
Did that appear rummaged through at all?
No.
How about, is there a little den? Some kid stuff is in there?
Yes, with French doors.
What was the condition of that room?
It seemed well kept.
How about the other rooms kind of in that hallway? There are 2 rooms on the left. If you were facing where Sharon was, there's kind of 2 rooms to the left. Is that correct?
Right. You're facing south and there are going to be two rooms on the east side of the house.
Let me publish what's been admitted as 214. Let's talk about this northeast bedroom. Is that the office?
That's the office where Mr. Randolph retrieved the 9mm.
Right. What is the condition of that room?
I mean, it seemed relatively straight. We had there was a 22 caliber handgun that was found in there. There was a piece of luggage that was near a trash can by the desk. There was some fabric on top of it, and we found the one handgun in there. But other than that, it appeared fine.
There was a computer whole setup right in that room.
Yes.
Anything about the computer and the electronics disturbed at all?
It didn't appear to be.
All right. And then when we look at this east bedroom, and that's the drum room, is that right?
Yes, we refer to it. The room had a lot of the area in the room was taken up with a full drum set, so we called it the drum room.
Do you remember anything disturbed, knocked over in that room at all?
There was a like a dresser in there with several of the drawers that were open partially. There was a side door that swung out. There were a couple of bags on the floor to the east of that dresser. Then we found a 38 caliber Smith & Wesson handgun that was up against the north wall of that room, or excuse me, south wall of that room.
So publishing 94, is this kind of a view looking into that hallway?
Yes, we're looking in a southwesterly direction, and you can see into the master bedroom.
So this is the reference to maybe a cabinet that's open and a drawer is kind of partially opened?
Correct.
Publishing 96, is that kind of another angle of that dresser?
Yes.
But it doesn't appear any of the contents of these dressers have been dumped out.
No.
Publishing 99, and that's the condition of kind of the rest of that room.
If this guy
Yes, we're looking
knew where all
northeasterly
his
from the
stuff was
doorway.
hidden, why would he dump everything and make it look like a robbery?
I know.
I mean, I'm terminally blonde, but
Let's talk about
I
that
mean,
office.
I can
for
figure
a
that
second.
out.
Publishing 126.
I
is
know
that the state of
petty
what
defense
the office
attorney
with
is gonna
computers look like?
Yes.
say that.
Publishing 123.
Can we
Is
skip
this
this
another view from the office?
rigmarole
Yes, it
and
is.
just
We're looking
I'm scared.
southwest out into the hallway. You can also see part of that hanging shoe rack in the closet.
Publishing 125, is that another angle of that office as well?
Yes, it is. We're looking back the opposite direction, northeast.
And then publishing 124, are we just kind of rotating a little bit to the left?
That's correct.
Well, I need some for when it's the leap
You
year.
mentioned, you also walked through the master bedroom, is that correct?
Yes.
Publishing 106, is this a look at kind of slightly inside the entryway of the master?
Yes, it is.
And what are these couple of boxes here? What do these appear to be?
They are
Jewelry
drawers
boxes.
from, if you were to go up from there, you can see a cabinet.
I
like
still
a curio
think
kind of
it's
cabinet
weird with
that's
those
hanging on the wall
mats
directly
lying
above
all
that
over the place.
little angel. Yep, there you can see it. And the
Yeah,
drawers
I-
would go into the bottom
Like
three
it.
slots there.
Publishing
I mean,
110.
unless,
Sure, I apologize, Your Honor, for the record. I was publishing
yeah, I don't get that, but
106.
I don't walk around
indicating that
barefoot
these
because I
drawers
don't like, I can't
fit
tolerate
in
stuff on my
with
feet
publishing
anymore, like
109, this
crumbly
structure
stuff
that's
on my
affixed
feet.
to the
Correct.
wall. Publishing 110, is this kind of the state of that dresser?
Yes, we're looking southeast in the master bedroom.
Yeah.
Did it appear as if any, I mean, I know there's some clothes kind of, I guess, hanging on the side of it, but did there appear to be anything dumped out on the floor on the other side of that bed?
No.
Publishing 112, is this the condition of the master bedroom at the time that you walked through?
Yes.
Did there appear to be any?
And I don't get
colors or
the
sheets on this?
mirror in the headboard.
No.
That bed.
That bed is nightmare fuel. The Dusty Rose is nightmare fuel for so many reasons.
It looks like a tacky motel you would rent on an hourly basis.
Well, I just feel like
yeah,
any
it kinda
movement of that
does.
mirror is gonna smash you in
You
the face.
mentioned that in the drum room next to Sharon, you found a revolver. Is that correct?
Yes, a 38 Smith & Wesson.
And you mentioned publishing 214. So that in this room, and that is that the 15 signifying that revolver?
Yes.
You mentioned, let's talk about this office here. Is there another firearm found in there?
Yes, that was a Smith & Wesson 22 caliber revolver.
Does your investigation determine which of these two revolvers was used to shoot Sharon?
Yes, the Smith & Wesson revolver indicated by 15, the 38 caliber, was found to have the hammer down on an expended 38 plus, which means plus powder or power, depending on who you're talking to. So there's a little bit extra energy that it communicates, and it's a semi-jacketed hollow point.
Okay, so, and publishing 90, that's that firearm, correct?
Yes, it is.
Publishing 101, is that close above it?
Yes, it is.
So this is the gun, and ultimately your analysts, forensic analysts determined that this is the gun that actually shoots Sharon in the head.
That's correct.
But Mr. Randolph indicates that another gun was found on Mr. Miller, is that correct?
Yes.
Is that, through the course of these interviews, is that the gun that he says Mr. Miller is potentially about to shoot him with?
Yes.
Okay. And where is that gun ultimately recovered from? Where does Mr. Randolph say he got that gun from?
He said that he got it from underneath Mr. Miller, and that he brought it into the house, and that he said he was aiming for the trash can, but he threw it into the office, and it ended up landing on top of some fabric covering a piece of green carry-on luggage.
Okay. Publishing 127. Do you see that green carry-on in the photograph?
Yes, I do.
Where is it? If you take your mouse, just going to put it over in that area.
This is the carry-on luggage.
Right. Let the record reflect the witness identified a piece of luggage in the bottom left-hand corner. 127. Publishing 128. Is that a close-up of that same piece of luggage?
We
Yes, it
see
is.
all this
Publishing
already.
129.
Yeah,
Is
that's
that,
why I don't understand why we are being
is that the
we are
close-up
being
gun?
pedantic
Yes, it is.
about this.
You mentioned that you have training experience in handling firearms.
Yes.
Well,
Which is the more powerful of the two firearms?
The 38
now what
caliber.
it has to do the
Okay, so not
rest
this
of
gun.
this.
No.
Okay, why is that?
Well, the
Are they gonna-
22 caliber long
That we
rifle
have-
rounds that are in there are being fired out of a
You're
short barrel,
cracking
so
up.
they're going to be less velocity than you would get out of a rifle, but it's way, way lighter bullet, traveling at approximately the same speed as a standard 9mm. With the 38 caliber plus, or the plus P is what it's called, you're getting significantly higher velocity and a much, much heavier bullet. In addition to the fact that the 22 caliber is just a round nose, a soft lead. It has no jacket on it. Whereas the 38 is a semi-jacketed hollow point that designed to expand on impact and create more damage.
It's just so
So,
boring.
based off of
It's
what you've learned, not just from those briefings, but subsequent interviews.
reiterating stuff we already heard,
Mr.
and I know
Randolph's
it's just
explanation is that
hopefully
Mr. Miller
he's the
uses
last
the more
witness,
powerful weapon to kill his
but
wife,
it has taken
and then
so
seemingly drops it for
long.
some
Yes.
Yes.
reason. When you conducted interviews with him, I mean, I know you do one later with him, but you've also listened to the June 9th, interview.
May 9th. Yes.
I'm sorry, May 9th. I apologize. Does the defendant indicate that he communicated to Mr. Miller that that night he was
It
leaving
took
Mr.
someone
Miller to go
long
hang
enough.
out with his wife?
Yes.
Did he indicate that he had to drop Mr. Miller off because he had to be the one to pick up and drive his wife to dinner?
That's correct.
So, according to the defendant's explanation, Sharon comes in and is shot with one gun, and then he decides to, I guess, drop the gun.
Yes.
Does Mr. Randolph ever explain at any interview or any juncture why he would do that?
Judge, objection as to Mr. Randolph.
How can he know why the?
Somebody dropped a murder weapon and then.
Yeah. I mean,
It's a stupid question.
Well, I think if
how
he
am I going to
relayed
know
that
what a
information in an
robbler
interview,
does,
it can
according
be
to
shared.
Griffin?
If you can't, you can't.
If he related, the detective can share it, but I don't think the detective can testify to an expectation.
Sure. I'll rephrase the question.
Yeah, please do.
Did-
Stupid.
Thomas Randolph ever relay to you?
How
why or
would he know
Mr.
he
Miller
wasn't in the
handled
house
that
at the
gun?
time?
No.
But that was the gun he successfully used to kill his wife,
Yes.
according to Mr. Randolph.
Yes.
Judge, I object to that. I object to that it was, that Mr. Randolph never said it was 38 that was used. I think it's the opposite. If you could say page number or rephrase that.
Well, Mr. President, if we rephrase the question and specify who is he and specify what it is that was said.
Sure, understood. And I get what's being mentioned. Mr. Randolph never specifies what gun is used to kill his wife, correct?
No, he just specifies which gun he got from off of Mr. Miller.
Right. Where does he say he finds the gun used to kill his wife? Where does he say he generally finds it?
Judge, he just said he didn't know.
You just said Mr. Randolph never said that which gun was used to kill his wife.
I apologize, and it's my fault.
Yeah, because you're an
38
idiot
special.
who wants.
Where does he
to put it
say he
in.
found the 38 special?
That's not the 38 special. He had 22.
We'll get there. I'm gonna get there, guys. I apologize, everyone. It's all right. I apologize.
This is just stupid. You
He is just trying. He is going to make this fit no matter what, and he's gonna piss the. Look, Judge has had a Monday too, and Judge is like, I am about to strangle you.
yeah, and just to have what put in that the two guns were in two different places. He could have been surprised by the wife, turn around, boom, dropped it, and he had the other one tucked in his pocket because he was stealing both guns. And then when he runs down the hallway, Mr. Randolph comes out of the room and he tries to pull the gun out. I can spin that tale.
Yeah, or he was stealing both guns because you can fence a gun just as much as you can fence jewelry.
It's
I
probably
mean,
easier to get money for a gun than for jewelry.
yeah. I mean, if we're going with the whole like he's going to be a robber, if you will,
A robbler. Sorry,
a robbler.
it's pronounced robbler.
Yes, you're correct. I don't. How dare I?
Gunnar has told me that.
Well, it's actually Griffin.
No,
Gunner's like there are no such things.
yeah, but you would say that if you were in cahoots with the robbers who made Griffin's name all over the wall.
Griffin has put that out there that is a conspiracy of his.
It's more believable than that Mr. Randall should know why a person
What in the
dropped a
name of
gun
cat
somewhere.
lady is that woman's hair today? Not that I can say anything, but holy crap, woman.
Yeah, and she has the green power suit on too.
Nice. Trying to confuse
Cheetos.
everyone.
Why?
Publishing 101. The 38 special. Where does Mr. Randolph say he found the 38 special?
In the first interview with Detective Hardy and Mogg, he said that when he knelt down next to Sharon, that his knee was on it. So it was directly next to her body. And
It's underneath her body.
he said that he knelt down
Objection
on it. When he
leading.
knelt next to her body.
So the gun that your team successfully determines kills Ms. Randolph is found, according to Mr. Randolph, underneath her body.
Or directly next to her body, because he knelt down to later on. He talks about it and demonstrates it in the walkthrough video. He knelt down next to the east side of her body.
When you
processed and walked through this scene, is there a purse found of Sharon's?
Yes, there was.
Where was that located?
That was in the bathroom, directly off the hallway.
Nearby Sharon's body?
It was, I mean, it's a few feet because she's in the hallway, and the carry out from the dinner and her purse were in the,
Publishing 103. Is that the purse and the charcoal grill bag?
that's correct.
Was there money found inside that purse?
You could look down inside the purse and see that there was a $100 bill and also a receipt for the charcoal room.
So there's money open in that purse,
Yes,
and it was left in the purse.
yes.
When Mr. Miller is taken to autopsy, how much money is found on his person?
There's $4 and something in change. He just had change.
During the course of your interviews with
But
the
he just
defendant,
shot someone. He's trying to
does
get
the
out of the
defendant
house,
offer
so
you
he's
a
not
possible
grabbing the
motivation
money.
Yeah, he's
for
not
But
gonna.
doing this burglary is to steal money,
Yes,
but
It's
the money in her purse remained.
correct.
again,
Oh my-
I
Oh my
I can
God.
She
deflect
was
this.
just walking into the house. Like she wasn't even there the whole time.
No, and he was in the belief that they went to the movies that evening, and he was ransacking the
Yeah.
house. She comes in and said, "What are you doing in here?" He turns around, klaplau, drops the
Yeah.
gun because he's all combobulated, runs down the hallway, runs into Mr. Randolph, and tries to pull out the 22 and gets yeeted.
Yeah, it's almost like he didn't really have a plan, and then when he got all Twitter pated with the wife coming in, he reacted, tried to run away, ran into husband, tried to take off his mask so he didn't look like a robbler, ran into husband guy.
Yeah. Yeah, if it had just been Exhibit 100.
Because it's 100% correct.
Exactly. Yeah, and he knew that there was supposed to be a large amount of money laying in the house that evening. Again, I can deflect this. Sorry. Yeah.
Is there a medicine bag found in
Maybe
one of
I
the
can't
rooms?
do anything with that.
Do you remember that?
Yes, there was.
Hold on, court's indulgence. Let's see if I can find it. Was there a bottle of prescription medicine found inside that bag?
Yes,
So it wasn't on Mr. Miller's person, it remained in that bag.
correct.
David's level of organization.
All right.
Publishing 111, is that bag that we're talking about?
Yes,
Publishing 113, do you see a bottle of pills in there?
yes, I do.
Could you please take your mouse and kind of indicate where it is? All right, let the record reflect the witnesses identified what appears to be an orange pill bottle just below what appears to be a bottle of shaving cream.
And there's also a pill dispenser up at the top, and you can see a white pill up in one of the compartments.
Okay.
I have no time. Are they going to say that they didn't take the freaking pain pills from her?
Yeah.
You had an opportunity to review the
I
interview
am running away and
that
joining
Mr.
the
Randolph
circus. This
gives
has gone
with
full
Detective
farce.
Mogg and Detective Hardy.
Yes,
I'm so happy I'm going on
When you had a
vacation.
chance to watch it for yourself, were there things that Mr. Randolph shared that were of concern to you for the purposes of your investigation?
This is just so speculative all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, maybe perhaps don't do the creepy smile. I know they probably have you listening to some REO Speedwagon and some Bob Seger, but try not to smile too creepily.
Sure. When you listened to the interview, where did the May 9th interview, where does
We heard
he indicate
in the
Mr. Miller was
interview.
running towards when he first encounters him?
toward the garage, the closed garage door.
Okay, you mentioned that a house key was found that had access to the back door. Is that correct?
Yes,
you had indicated when that you arrived, that door was open.
Yes.
When you had observed that at the scene and observed the key in the bag, and you heard Mr. Randolph relay that Miller was, in this instance, running towards the garage, was that of significance for your investigation?
Yes, it was. It didn't make sense
Why?
because it would have been easy for him to turn left and go out where he came in.
Yeah, but he
Instead,
didn't
he's
know that
going
way.
towards a door where he knows
He came in that
somebody's
way.
going to be coming in. The door's closed.
He doesn't know that.
That he knows somebody's coming. He's now telling us what Miller knows.
I can have it rephrased.
Yeah, you can have it rephrased, but he still doesn't know anything about what went on in the head of.
Mission.
But the bottom line is, presumably there's a garage with people coming in it, correct?
Yes.
And when you walk that scene, the back door is open.
Yes.
So that struck you as strange, that was the direction of Mr. Miller's travel, given that there's an open back door.
Yes, it didn't make sense to me.
We can want to do the break at this point. Okay, thank you.
We're going to take our lunch recess at this time. During this recess, you must not discuss communicating with anyone, including villagers, in any way regarding this case or its merits, either by voice, phone, email, text, internet, or other means of communication or social media. You must not rewatch this meeting or media to commentary about this case. You must not do any research, such as consult dictionary, using the internet, using reference the case. You must not make any investigation, test, or theory the case, read any effort in the case, or any other way investigate or learn about the case on your own. You must not form request any opinion regarding this case or its private to you. If 12:30 will be in recess until 1:45.
All rise for the jury.
Well, that was boring as all kinds of hell. Sorry
I
to
know.
say.
I was like, ADHD meds kick in, and I was like, oh, they're still not.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Why have you forsaken me, ADHD meds?
But again, yeah, I know hopefully he's their last witness who should tie everything together, and they had 4 objections, 3 of which the judge granted the defense. He is.
Dino
He
Kelly
is.
should be the last one because he was the lead detective, I believe. So I think he
Yeah,
is.
but Dino Kelly, or maybe Officer, I wasn't listening. Only one
I
caught
like
that.
that guy.
Yeah, but only one person caught my banner.
I liked it.
Yeah.
But what have we learned today? We have learned that I wasn't in the house. I can't say. I was down the street. I don't know. And what have we learned? I was told someone told someone else something. And I think it's weird. And the victim should have done something else. It can't be true. I'm talking over names because I never say anything. I don't care. It was just, you have to speculate about the mindset of a fleeing criminal. What? I can really understand why they took the break now, because
The judge was like, I'm
Yeah,
about ready to start contempting all of you.
she was getting angry, and he was really not getting anywhere. Could you speculate why the gun is here? No. Can you speculate why he didn't go there? No. Why didn't he take the pills? Why didn't he take $100 bill? Yeah, why didn't he?
Yeah, that's the other thing. I mean, again, you aren't going to be thinking. I mean, at least I wouldn't be thinking of that at all. But I mean, I'm not a weirdo. Who knows?
Yeah, we should really have Dr. G round this up and say, well, you can see on the posture of his dead body that he was really intent on going out the front door, but fell and stumbled into the garage. I'm sorry, but it's just so stupid.
Yeah,
I know, and I really want this guy to be guilty because he seems just a terrible human being. He seems to find women at their lowest and uses them for his own needs. And he seems shady as hell and a terrible person to be married to, which are, again, not crimes. So you can't really charge him according to David, as you will. But it's almost beginning to sound like he might be at least not provably guilty of these crimes, which is upsetting
Yeah,
because
and
he got the daggone death penalty the last time.
yeah,
So
but
what the heck?
if they spent
What?
half the time saying, well, back in 80, 85, or whenever he had his first marriage, uh, the jury could really listen to that and see that as evidence, which it could never be. So,
I don't get it.
no, I don't get it either. But luckily for me, it's almost 10 p.m. my time. Salbert will have to do the rest of the show. I just put the link in the chat. It's on top of the chat. It's in the video description. And even if you go into my playlist named Thomas Randolph, you can find the link there too, because Salbert is kind enough to help me out doing the afternoon show so I can get some sleep. And tomorrow I had to leave my house at 7 p.m. So I'll need some sleep and all the stuff.
Oh, miss you.
No, I'm not going on my holiday. I'm just going to
Oh,
give my brother
How do you
something
for your vacation?
on Tuesday.
Oh, next Tuesday.
This Tuesday, Thursday.
Oh, I was like,
it's all the T words.
you have me so confused. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Alexandra, I'm sorry, but as I said, tomorrow I have to go and give my brother something he has to take to some party somewhere. And again, if I'm that's the part she's empathizing about. Yeah, it can be very traumatic to see
It's
first.
traumatic, guys. You don't even know.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't leave my house. In fact, today I had to leave my house, go to a school, then go to Walmart, then go to Goodwill to
No,
get
I
all the
places
polo
yesterday.
shirts.
And I was just like ready to be home.
But did you meet any of the Walmart people?
Shockingly, I was on a mission. I actually stayed on task because as I said, I was using my legs I've had for almost 40 years and tripped because, as you do. And so I was like, I'm getting these pants. We are getting pants that are uniforms. We are getting polo shirts. We are not going to get CPS called on us for you wearing the same damn shirt ever again. We are getting all the polo shirts from Goodwill that will fit you. And yes, we shop at Goodwill because look, when you have feral boys, I am not paying good money for new shirts when they are feral. No.
And hello, the White Rabbit. You coming in right in the end. They just went on lunch break, and Salbert will be covering this afternoon.
Yes.
Yeah, that's.
I
Jamie
actually
isn't stupid.
thought of that, Maz, and that's a pretty good idea.
Jamie has it all figured out.
I'm gonna. You guys are giving.
Jamie is my guru over here.
Yeah, and Farrell, it's over because the state kept running into objections they lost. So I think he had to go and regroup. So he asked for lunch early. So yeah, that's fun. I went to a Goodwill store today, and I don't know what it is, but I went into the men's section, and there's nothing. There's not really much in the men's section. Probably because we men, as long as a pair of underwear only have 4 or 5 holes in it, we can reuse them for another year. We don't really
I
throw
did find
stuff out.
You don't donate.
Hawaiian shirts with shoulder pads still in. I almost got some, but
So
it was
try to be nice. The White Rabbit is a classy lady.
I haven't been to the Goodwill in a hot minute though.
We we had a when you're on maternity leave in Denmark, you get together with other people in what's called mother groups to talk about,
Aw.
it's so hard to have kids, and let's drink some coffee and talk bad about our husbands. The things you need.
Seems
And
okay.
one of the mothers, my oldest, was in the mother group with. She bought. You can buy Lego clothes too, and it's really expensive. Even for kids, it's like close to $100 for a shirt and stuff like that. And then one day they were having the meeting after maybe they had been on maternity leave for maybe 6 months or something, and then she said, "I'm so stupid. I bought all this expensive clothes because look how good it is." And then I remembered how expensive it is, so he has never worn it. So if anyone else is getting another baby, just let me know, because it has maybe been used once or twice when they went out for fancy stuff. It's so stupid. Buy the cheap stuff, because the kids can't. They don't know about it, and they're not going to be Instagram models.
No. Yeah, look, y'all, just do not buy fancy stuff. Don't.
It's going to be ruined anyway.
Do not.
I don't
No,
know. I don't like socks with holes, but you're going to have holes in. I remember the 80s when it was fashionable to have holes in your jeans.
Listen, poop explosions are a thing. They are a thing, guys. And just don't buy don't buy new stuff. Don't buy white onesies. Don't do it.
Well, if it's cheap, I'm on it. When is lunch end? Did they say 12:50?
Let me look.
She was really fast, so I think she said 12. No, it's 9 o'clock. It's 12. Then maybe one. It was a strange time. 1:30 something, or I believe it was 1:30. I'm sorry.
It says on the 4:49.
So
57 minutes.
Yeah, 1:49 Nevada time.
1:49. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Doing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to school back in the 80s, most of my clothes was sewn by my mom or my grandparents. It was just we didn't, or it was something my brothers had worn, and they are 8 and 4 years older than me.
Like they sewed your clothes, like made them from scratch.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I had so much knitted stuff.
Aww.
My grandma made me a pair of hammer pants. Remember MC Hammer pants? I had some of those. That was like the coolest thing I had.
You can't really see this, but I am beginning. I'm wearing a velour pullover vest.
Heck yeah.
Oh my gosh, velour is awesome.
Nope,
Also,
not when you're a 5-year-old starting
my
in school.
cats are carb monsters. This is supposed to be garlic bread. I don't know who, Thor or Loki, but someone tried to eat the garlic bread.
My cat does that too. If I leave bread out on the counter, she'll like eat it.
Freaking cat holes everywhere. Just, I can't have nice things. Lure better be better, or I'm going to be very upset. Or fry. I don't know which one. Gonna have to see.
Well,
Oh.
make
what
me.
personality he has.
That's a pot calling the kettle black.
What?
Sean said I'm not smart. Or smart, as he said.
Well, I mean, I have never claimed to be smart.
No.
A smart ass, yes.
Yeah, if you can make your own clothes, that's
That
you
is
can save a lot of
awesome.
money, and it's yeah. I used to be the cutest little velour baker ever.
Oh my gosh, I need. Okay, that's it.
You were the
You are
cute.
now Captain Zap Brannigan. In our Futurama, we're all dressing up as Futurama. You get to be Captain Zap because you now have access to velour somehow.
No, as I said earlier, my mom has died, so she can't make me velour stuff.
Yeah, well, okay, we're gonna have to get
Thread up. What's thread up? Is it
Yeah.
for?
Oh,
Is that
it's a
those
way
where
you
you
can
get stuff and send it back? Is that what it is? I'm
I
crazy.
think it's where you can get name brand stuff for cheaper. I don't know. I so like if I'm getting Old Navy stuff, I feel like I'm bougie. So you know.
Yeah. When I go outside Walmart, I feel like I'm bougie.
I bought a Old Navy hoodie when I was in the US. It's only 5 years old. It's one of my favorite. It's nice. They yeah, but
All right.
we
Well,
don't have that here. So but I bought some T-shirt from them. That was really C-Swept. I can't remember my address.
Come on. Just give
Ask
it to
Farrell.
her.
put that other bread in the refrigerator so the cats don't get it.
And again, I think that it's a big problem with we're having a party, not a political party, making a suggestion tomorrow that you have to pay for the clothes, an extra tax on clothes because to save the environment, because we change clothes too much, and I think they figured out that 71% of clothes buying is not needed. And I'm sitting here thinking, well, let's guess it's not 50% of the population that buys too much clothes. We probably even gonna pull down the average because, yeah, today I bought 3 new T-shirts, and I can't remember when I did that the last time. That's and every time I'm on stream, someone has
I feel
bought something.
I feel like
Personal attack.
feel accused here. Okay, here's my thing. I have a bunch of stuff that I need to take to Goodwill. I'm fixing to do it. I just need to do it. My closet is overfull. I have made peace with the fact that I'm not going to wear these things. I just need to do it. I am just lazy, people. That is what I am lazy.
I know.
That is
I got
all that is to it.
closet right now. That's like overflowing.
It's not my fault because I hid it all under my bed, and then Mr. Mo cleaned under my bed and shoved it all in my closet. And I'm like, I had everything hidden where I wouldn't see it.
That's why we had a yearly, half-yearly tradition when the kids lived mostly with their mom, and when they visited me. But then on the summer break, on the winter break, they had to go through every piece of clothes they had and try it on and throw it out if they couldn't use it anymore, because it just, they're going to use it next time. And when they're not living with you, it's just in the closet. You don't know what it is. And my mom had a tendency to buy, oh, that's cute, I'm going to buy that. And all of a sudden they have 25 T-shirts. And when they're staying with me for 2 days, it's not really needed. So, it's a thing. But I should probably buy more clothes, but maybe I should just go back to homemade velour. Look at that haircut. It's a bowl cut.
The funny thing is that my youngest, most feral, makes that face when we ask him to do a smile. So I'm glad to see that the other kids make that smile because I'm like, what is wrong with you? I just want one picture where you don't look like you're trying to be a supervillain from freaking, Batman.
That's that's the story of my childhood. Every time my mom pulled out a camera, I was running away. I didn't want to do that.
Oh, no, Griffin wants to be on camera all the time. He just wants to make weird.
I
I
hate
that's
the
what
smile.
that's what happened to me. I have a picture. I have all my family has multiple pictures of me as a baby because I used to always do the like monster face they call it, and you to JCPenney to get your pictures taken, and lo and behold, nobody would actually get actual pictures of me. That's what they have. So that's what they have on their walls at their house right now. And I got a copy of it when my grandpa passed away because it was his favorite picture. So he gave it to me like in his will. He willed it to me. So I have it in my bedroom right now. I just love it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's just. Aww.
I'm like, you guys could you have any normal pictures of me?
This hair was done by my aunt, who is a professional hairdresser. It was all the rage in 5 years old. So that's 82. So we had those nice hair back in 82.
It
You're
is
too young
it
to
is a
remember
choice.
the
It is a
80s, Jamie.
style choice.
Yeah, terriers are good for rats. But everyone, I would like to say this have been fun, but I can't lie. I'm just like Abe Lincoln. No, I'm not in the Ford Theater. But I put the link in all the different places, and I'm gonna do it again, so you can go and see if Cell will have a more fun afternoon. And I'll be back tomorrow, maybe at the same time. We'll find out when it starts. And
Yes,
same time, same channel, same bad signal.
yes.
Mo, do your stuff.
Yes, I'm Mo from Mo in the Deep End. I will probably not be on this evening because, like I said, I have a 17-year-old who has decided to hang out with friends. So sad face. She doesn't love me anymore. Sad. And I got her cupcakes and everything, but we are making her dinner, and Mr. Mo and I will probably, do married, boring, romantic stuff, like sit down and watch the Great British Baking Show holding hands, all that smexy stuff until he has to go to a school board meeting or a school meeting about an overnight field trip for one of the other children. So all the fun stuff. But I will be here tomorrow with Baker, and I will be putting out some videos because I've got a lot of viewer suggestions. Reindeer has been giving me a lot of different things to look at. And if you have any suggestions or you've seen, stories you want me to cover, I have my email on somewhere on my community thing. I think it's on my About Me, or it is somewhere. Shoot them to me or put them in the Discord for MLS Law if you're a member, and I will cover them as soon as I can. My life kind of went craziness this weekend, but I am back. So we should be good.
Bye, Raw Bill, Middle Bill.
Hang on. First C-swept. I grabbed it. Hang on. It's on my wall right here. Okay, it's me and my cousin. So, can you see it?
Aww.
That's not too monstery.
Face?
It's not too monstery compared to what Griffin and, but yeah.
It's this.
Jamie.
I always smiled with my bottom tooth. But my grandpa gave it to me when he passed away. It was weird. It was just funny because I was like, he wants you to have this. I was like, oh, well, I have to put it up now. But anyways, that's my story. Baby lashes. No, I had no lashes. I just had big, giant brown eyes. So, I'll be on with Sal later. So, that's what I'll be doing.
Oh, cool.
Someone has the cool stuff. I was out looking for Legos today. If I get invited back for another stream, I have one in the pipeline, and then I'm looking to get a good offer on the Paris one, so we can redo the Damian Lopez. So, but I'm not sure where I can get the fat Lego figures. I have to look into that.
God.
But I'm
Did
going.
you find the rainforest from Germany? Because I think that's the one.
Yeah, but I'll. Take care, have fun, and hopefully everything goes well. We're crossing our fingers. And but I'll soon be going to near Legoland, so I hope they have a lot of stuff in the airport.
Okay.
Well, I don't know how complicated those architect stuff are, but last time I think the expert went on for 7 hours to finish his diorama, so it could take a long time, and it's great. But everyone, see you tomorrow. Remember, go to Sal's channel, give him a little love, because he's doing the boring afternoon stuff. And I'm going to bed.
We'll try to spice it up.
Yeah.
Yes.
See you later.